You tell everybody. Listen to me, Hatcher. You gotta tell them. Soylent Green is Cosmere Chronicles, the podcast we follow two first-time readers, Sheta and Justin, we chronicle their journey through Brand Sanderson's Cosmere series. On today's episode, we'll be chronicling Mistborn, the Hero of Ages, chapters 59 through 65. So now, it's time to throw it over to the host of Cosmere Chronicles. This is Joe. Thank you, Joe. Yep, once again, it's Cosmere Chronicles. I'm your host, Joe, and I'm joined here once again by Justin and Sheta. Hey.
What's up?
Hey, I feel like I've been hearing voices, man. Am I going insane? What's going on here?
Yes, but that's unrelated. We do also have special guests from the Cosmere Reads. We have Elend, Alondo, and Tree.
Hi.
What's up? Hi.
What is up?
So, just to let everyone know who you are, just give a little rundown of your podcast and what you're doing.
Sure. Well, I'll do this. This is Alan from the Cosmere Reads. We've been doing this for, I don't know, how long have we been doing this, Alondo? 2 years?
I think
Something like that?
we're going on 2 years. Yeah, I think in
2
May.
years.
We're
I think
officially
2
two.
years. 2 years. Yeah. So we're a first-time reader podcast. I guess similar to you guys. I started podcasting 5 years ago, a little over 5 years ago, doing a different book series, and also fell in love with the Cosmere during that time, and decided to start a second podcast. So we started doing the same thing through the Cosmere. So we've read through where you guys are, and to keep spoilers at a minimum, we won't say anything more about where we are and what we're doing. But we're working through the Cosmere as well, and we've read what you've read, so and more. So that's pretty much it. Do you want me a little background about me and like where fantasy and stuff like that?
Yeah, just let us know like your history of reading fantasy and then your history of
Okay.
just Cosmere and stuff.
Sure. So I started reading fantasy at a young age, but really didn't get into fantasy until I started a podcast. Like it was kind of more of a casual thing, more of a sci-fi nerd than fantasy reading. I had read Wheel of Time when I was a lot younger. Actually fell into that book accidentally because I was in the process of trying to sail around the world. It's a long story, and I was in a bookshop in Australia, and there was a book there called Eye of the World. Well, the name of my nonprofit that I was sailing around the world with was called Eye of the World, which stood for Expedition for Youth Education of the World. Had nothing to do with the book at all, but here is this book that is named after the same sailing group that we are, so I bought it and read through the whole series, and then shelved it and didn't think about it for years and years, and then I heard TV shows being made, so I decided to reread it and realized none of my friends had still read it. So I called up two different friends, not Alondo or Tree, but two other people, Chris and Ian, and started a podcast called The Wheel Reads about Wheel of Time, and then discovered Cosmere by, of course, association. Brandon Sanderson finished Wheel of Time, so had got a taste of his writing and decided to pick up Cosmere, and brings us to today.
All right, I'll go next. So Alondo, I've been reading, since a young age, and I got it hooked into Agatha Christie books back in the day, and I've been reading detective books since I was 5 or whatever age it was, which is weird. I mean, now we walk around with these Agatha Christie books, and people are like, "Well, what are you?" Other kids are like, "What are you walking around with?" Then I got into fantasy reading, The Hobbit, J.R.R. Tolkien, back in the day, which, got me into Lord of the Rings. And then it was just like a steady progression to other fantasy stuff for years and years. And, of course, then I got into, the George R.R. Martin, Song of Ice and Fire, all those things. And then I'm at Alan's house for a Christmas party, and he's like, "Hey, thinking about doing this, another podcast. You read the Wheel series, and it's like, would you want to do this one?" And I was like, sure, why not? Because I've actually ran a couple podcasts on my own, so I was used to being on the mic, etc. And he was like, "Yeah, well, we're thinking about setting this thing up," and I was like, "Why not? Let's go for it." And I've been doing it now for a couple of years and having fun. So happy to be a partner with him on that, and happy to join you guys.
All right, I guess it's my turn now.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm Tree. I have also just always been like a book reader, loves fantasy books. Like I also kind of met Alan through the Wheel of Time, which I started reading from like my high school library. And then, oh boy. You guys are so good at doing these. I'm always so bad. I should like write a script. But anyway, yeah, so found the Wheel Reads podcast. I did a bit of Alan's graphic design in the very beginning for like merch and his logo and stuff like that. And then when the Cosmere happened and things were getting shuffled around and they were only down to one first-time reader, I messaged Alan and kind of infiltrated. But he seemed okay with it. You're still okay with it, right, Alan?
I'm infiltrated. I love it. I love it.
I was like, Alan.
She's like, I want to be on the podcast. I was like, sure, full send.
Yes, it's sort of similar to that.
We started with another one, Will, but then he had a kid, and
yeah,
and new babies are tough. I've
gone through. I met you at
JordanCon. Yeah, we met at JordanCon.
And I'm instantly hit off. I mean, me and Tree, it's like,
oh yeah.
I was like, oh yeah,
like best friends.
I was like, this is a chill lady. I was like,
this was way before the podcast thing happened.
Absolutely. So when he said she was going to come on board, I was like, yeah. That checks. That checks out.
Yeah. So I'm the new addition to this adventure, but it's been really fun so far.
We're so happy to have you, Tree.
Thank you.
Man, that is a colorful collection of backstories. Very exciting. A lot more exciting than mine would have been.
Alan's is the most exciting.
I don't know. I just
I'm just a boring old book reader, I don't have anything exciting to share.
Now I don't go anywhere anymore because I got a bunch of kids.
I know. And you run 2 podcasts.
I run 2, all the kids. No, they're great.
Yeah, like with me getting into Wheel of Time, it's just like, all right, I wanted to read Song of Ice and Fire, but at that point, it's like, well, we've been waiting like 4 or 5 years for Winds of Winter, so I'll make it so I have less of a wait. So I decided to, I'll read Wheel of Time. So that took me a year. I've still been waiting like another 6-7 years since then.
Don't worry, Joe. Every year I hear that it's just around the corner.
Oh yeah, I hate when he puts out updates too, and he's like, I worked a little bit on this thing. I was like, sure you did.
I got a whole half a word written down.
Mm-hmm. That guy's sitting on a toilet somewhere, just like scribbling some stuff on some paper, and I'm like, oh yeah, sure you're right. I mean, considering the pace that like Sanderson churns things out, and this guy is over here like, just crapping out turds instead of like doing his work. Come on.
Yeah. And that's also why I have not even started Kingkiller Chronicles.
Yeah. Patrick,
I'm waiting on.
I was going to finish.
I'm waiting until he announces the release date for the 3rd book before I read the first one.
Yeah.
Smart.
Jeez.
All right. Good times. I did have a question for the new readers because I always like to ask this question when they get this far into Mistborn, just so I get an idea of everyone's kind of background. So for who's so far in the series, who's your favorite character and why is it Breeze?
This guy. Alan Pokin.
Who is the favorite? Breeze is pretty close, but I don't know that he wins the title.
Nice.
I'm starting to kind of like Ruin, if I'm going to be honest.
Oh, that's a hot take. I like it, though.
Love it.
Like, when I think of all the characters, he's the one I'm finding pretty interesting, but I'll have to see where things go big picture later on before I can officially make such a statement. And, of course, if he does any, like, horrible shit that would piss me off too much.
When you love Breeze so much that you actually tattoo there's a picture of it, brass on your arm.
Oh goodness!
Let me see.
It's in the. I put in the chat.
Wow.
I don't know. My favorite character is Spook.
Nice.
Yay,
Good
Spook!
He's the best.
Mine has always been Hank.
Ham.
Oh, Ham.
Yes.
You like Clubs in the beginning, but Clubs died.
I did like Clubs at the beginning, but but Ham, dude, he kind of turns around. I mean, Ham was always Ham, so yeah. But Clubs was my boy, Clubs, because I used to always say that, my boy Clubs.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's yours, Sheta.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thanks for pouring out one for my homie.
Yeah. Let's see. I just really like TenSoon. I just love.
Ooh, Alondo.
And Alondo goes on mute.
Oh,
Alondo is a TenSoon
Alondo and I have had
hater.
words about this.
Ooh.
yes.
Yeah,
All together, Alondo.
Alondo could not get over TenSoon killing Orseer.
That's how I feel, man. I know he was ordered to, but it doesn't make me hate him. He's a different culture, different stuff. But I just can't get over that. It drives me nuts. I really was liking Orseer.
Man. Alan knows my hatred runs deep.
Yeah. My favorite character, it'd probably be basic, either Kelsey or Vin. But then, right after them, would probably be Ulrian.
Oh, nice.
Another hot take. I like that.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Well, didn't mean to take over the podcast. Go ahead with the normal.
You've ruined the podcast.
Ruined everything. That's what I do.
We've got to cancel it now. It's over.
Oh, don't worry. That's what the editing's for. It will just seem seamless. Like that was the next question we were right into.
Yeah. Awesome.
So we will go into last week's chapter. So this time, Sheta, it's your turn to. Wait, I think it was Sheta. Or was
no, it's totally Sheta's turn.
It's Justin's turn.
No, it's just Justin. It's your turn
to
recap last week.
Last week, I remember that TenSoon arrived at Luthadel and talked to those guards in Kelsier's body. I'm gonna need some help. That's about all I've got.
Elend had a meeting with Preservation.
Yes, yeah, that was a fairly important part. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
Little bit. Yes, Elend spoke with Preservation. Preservation waved around and pointed off. Elend kind of got a half a sense for what he was saying. Did not give up all hope because he knew there was something, but he didn't know what was happening. Then we learned that Preservation, according to the mysterious speaker in the opening things, epigraphs, that it had died. Then Ruin came to Vin and was gloating about it, and Vin started to realize some things about Ruin that she's slowly putting together. There must have been at least one other. Oh, and Spook finally confronted Quellion and realized that he was being manipulated by a force that he did not know that was using Ruin's face, or Kelsier's face. We also learned that the citizen was seeing the same force, and we learned that when it's in a place, two people see it at once, which was quite interesting. Spook rips out the shard and decides not, or Spike, yeah, you're right, yeah, decides not to give in to that. They run off. He runs into a burning building and seemingly tragically dies, it seemed, which was very sad, but is able to help release the waters. And is there another major thing I'm missing, or did that cover the stuff? Elend probably did, or, Sazed probably did something. Looked through some more texts, I assume. That's all I got. I'm tapped out.
Yeah, I think that was most of the big points. The only thing was like Vin talking a little bit with Yeoman, and he's putting her on trial for the Lord Ruler's death.
Oh, that was last time? I thought that was the time before. All right.
Yeah, I forgot all about the wacky inflatable arm flailing tube god.
All right, so this week we went and we read through chapters 59 through 65 of the book. So, Justin, Sheta, how are you guys feeling about these chapters this week?
Oh, I love these chapters. Things are starting to move in the kinds of ways I was really interested to see, both in the lore and the themes and morality of it. So these were some of my most exciting chapters for me.
Mm-hmm. Everything is coming together, revealing major things for us.
All the secrets.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So with that, then we'll go into this week's chapters. where we are starting part 5, called Trust. It's chapter 59, Epigraph. I do not know what went on in the minds of the Koloss, what memories they retained, what human emotions they truly still knew. I do know that our discovery of the one creature who named himself human was tremendously fortunate. Without his struggle to become human again, we might never have understood the link between the Koloss, Hemalurgy, and the Inquisitors. Of course, there was another part for him to play. Granted, not large, but still important, all things considered.
I knew it that human was writing the epigraphs. It's one of my theories.
What?
Human.
You able to scratch him off the list now, Sheta?
Yeah.
We got a couple people off the list in these chapters. I thought that was
giant blue mindless. I guess human's a little more mindful, but you don't think that's the hero? Come on.
Could be. Be
He
really
could
interesting
evolve,
to
maybe.
see.
Yeah.
No, I keep telling them the entire time, it's Goradel.
Oh, there you go.
Yo, that is such a spoiler. Now I have to cross him off the list.
I just got this image though of human like sitting there scribbling something on metal, you know.
Right?
Well, this
writing
is after
down
Human's
this
gone to
crap.
college and he
Oh,
kind of
he's-
knows everything and stuff.
I know, yes, he has like the hat with the tassel
Yep,
flipped.
mhm.
He's like, I
Yep.
graduated, you know.
He's wearing
like
a little
just
suit.
scribbling with his left hand, like a really huge crayon, like a kindergartner type crayon.
Little
But it
Koloss
just etches
parents are
into
so
metal.
proud of him.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Human good. Human right
Yeah,
now.
that's a jump the shark moment for me. I think I'd stop reading.
All right. Into the chapter proper. All right, so we're with TenSoon, and he's arriving in Urteau, which has about a third of it burned down, and the canals are now back. But the people are happy because it was a miracle that 2/3 of the city was saved. Then TenSoon finds some of Elend's guards, and they ask whose dog this is, and TenSoon just responds to him that he belongs to no man. The guards are freaked out by the talking dog, but TenSoon says that he has a message from Elend.
The way they described the guard being freaked out was so believable to me. He was just kind of like, oh, what, huh? Like, just frozen in confusion.
But then on the flip side, though, it's in a few paragraphs later, he's like, "Oh, you mean the talking dog over here? Yeah, I know that dude." I mean,
Yeah.
he's just like, at first he's like,
yeah, I can relate to
"What?"
that.
And then later on, he's like,
You're like,
yeah,
oh, Vin does all kinds of weird shit. Sure, whatever.
yeah."
I also like that he contemplated putting on Kelsier's bones again, but was like, no, that'd probably be a bad idea. And in this city, that would have gone really crazy.
No.
Oh, I wanted him to. I'm so sad.
Could have upset the whole balance they've been building here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Start shit.
Nah, you can play that card so many times.
All right, and then the guards point TenSoon to a tent where Breeze is sitting on a throne drinking wine. And he asks...
Sorry.
He asks if the dog was always TenSoon, and TenSoon replies yes. Breeze then assumes that he is Renew, but TenSoon says that he is a different Kandra. TenSoon asks where Vin is because he has news to tell her regarding the Mists and the Ash. And Breeze sends TenSoon to go see Sazed. And then he goes see Sazed, and Sazed mentions that Spook barely survived being burned. He tells TenSoon that Finn is in Fadric City, which upsets TenSoon because that will take weeks to get to. Sazed asks what TenSoon is going to tell Vin. TenSoon wants to say nothing, but instead he says that it has to do with the Hero of Ages. Sazed doesn't seem to care about this and tells TenSoon that he will take whatever provisions he needs. TenSoon is surprised that Sazed didn't seem to blink at him, hinting at one of the religious secrets of their age.
I think it's so funny that we've watched Sazed go through like over half a book of this. And just like when he gets to Luthadel and gets to hear TenSoon's just like as if you just started reading now after finishing the second book. I find it very interesting to see that perspective.
Mm-hmm. It's like, what's up with Sazed? He's completely different. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he just chalks it up to humans are weird.
yeah.
All right. Anything else from this chapter any of you want to go over?
Just my
TenSoon.
eye got raised when TenSoon is like, "Nah, I'm not that Renew guy." I'm like, "Ah,
Yeah.
TenSoon,
So sad.
I hate you so much."
Just same as you. Like, everyone's getting caught up with what's been going on. And I like that too. Because
Mhm.
there's been so many like revelations since these characters have interacted. if they've ever interacted before.
Well,
yeah, everything's kind of coming to a point.
TenSoon haven't had
Everything's
a
coming together.
conversation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything's kind of coalescing into like the same like little spot now.
Mm-hmm. I thought it was really interesting how quickly the Sazed had, or not Sazed, Spook had just barely survived from his burns when I thought he was dead for sure. I was shocked.
Yeah.
I had to reread that line because I was like, that's such a huge deal. And they just said it so quickly because to them, they've known for a bit. You know, we're coming in a bit later.
Spook has that favorite character, plot armor.
Yeah, plot armor all day.
It wasn't the plot armor.
See, what happened was I threatened Brandon Sanderson. I said, if anything happens to Spook,
I will start a campaign.
In the original released edition, Spook horribly died, but he immediately put out a new version after you said that. Rewrote the whole thing.
Yep.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, funny
unfortunately, I'm not
enough,
very
died in a
happy.
grease fire of all things too, which is pretty ironic.
There's still more book left, though.
Yeah, there is.
All right, on to chapter 60. The prison preservation created for Ruin was not created out of preservation's power, though it was of preservation. Rather, preservation sacrificed his consciousness, one could say his mind, to fabricate that prison. He left a shadow of himself, but Ruin, once escaped, began to suffocate and isolate this small remnant vestige of his rival. I wonder if Ruin ever thought it strange that preservation had cut himself off from his own power, relinquishing it and leaving it to the world, to be gathered and used by men. In preservation's gambit, I see nobility, cleverness, and desperation. He knew that he could not defeat Ruin. He had given too much of himself, and, beyond that, he was the embodiment of stasis and stability. He could not destroy, not even to protect. It was against his nature. Hence the prison. Mankind, however, had been created by both Ruin and preservation, with a hint of preservation's own soul to give them sentience and honor. In order for the world to survive, preservation knew he had to depend on his creations, to give them his trust. I wonder what he thought when those creations repeatedly failed him.
I found that epigraph a bit judgmental on humanity.
That's a fair judgment, though.
It depends on your definition of failure.
We get back up. That's our power. That's what a million movies have taught me.
That is what we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got that Ruin in us.
Perseverance.
Chapter's beginning with Vin, and she decides to give Yeoman what he expects. So when some guards come to bring her food, Vin uses the chance to escape. She uses a leg from a chair as a club and gets past a couple guards. Unfortunately, there are about 20 total guards, so she gets stopped. While she's being brought back to her cell, Vin puts some gruel onto her wrists. When Yeoman arrives to talk, Vin slips her hands out of her manacles. She throws some silver screws at guards, and they drop in fear. But of course, she doesn't actually have any metal, so they just hit against the wall without any power.
That's a funny scene.
Yeah, all I thought was Dave Chappelle. I mean, excuse my vernacular, but I just, all I could think was Dave Chappelle. He goes, "Gotcha, bitch."
Vin attacks Yeoman, but he easily dodges, and she knows that he is burning ATM. And then Ruin arrives to taunt Vin. And Vin tells Yeoman that he is a Mistborn, but he says that he isn't, and that he does not lie. Yeoman tells Vin that it's time for a trial, and brings in some obligators. And Ruin walks around the room and in front of Yeoman, but Yeoman does not seem to react to him.
That surprised me. I really was interested in that with what we learned last chapter. I mean, that's all written very specifically for us to think that, but I found it very interesting anyways.
Yeah.
Which part did you find interesting? I'm sorry. The fact
that Yeoman didn't see Ruin.
Okay.
Or that he didn't acknowledge him. Because for a second I thought maybe he will see him and he'll just reveal that he knew he was there all along. But with how the chapter goes on, it becomes very apparent that he's... Well, I mean, they literally say in an epigraph...
Say later,
He's not stabbed, yeah. So I thought that was really interesting. I'm glad because I like Yeoman a lot, so I was hoping he wasn't, but I'm glad that's one of the antagonistic forces against them currently in this war is not just controlled by that, to show that, you know, not everything that works against them is of Ruin. And in fact, as we learn later on, I won't talk about that until we get there, but some interesting stuff related to that.
Yeoman questions Vin as to why they came to Fadrix, and she tells him that they came for the cache, which they had learned about from another cache. Yeoman suggests that they came to be conquerors, but Vin responds that Elend wanted to try diplomacy first. And then Ruin says that Yeoman could have brought great destruction, but not every ploy could be successful. Yeoman asks about the Church's survivor and that Vin is one of their heads. She says that she isn't, and that the Church is mostly focused on Kelsier. Yeoman mentions that he cannot understand how people can follow someone dead or someone they cannot see. But Vin points out that he's doing the same thing with the Lord Ruler.
Yeah.
And then Yeoman tells her the Lord Ruler isn't dead, but instead wanted Vin to believe that she had killed him for some reason.
Good one. Yeah.
The logic don't logic here at all. I mean,
Delulu.
he's like, hey, look, why are these people like all in this faith situation? But then it's like, she's like, but you got faith yourself. You can't see. And he's like, that's a different story.
Well, yeah, you see, the
about
difference is his faith is true. Theirs is false. So
of course.
obviously,
Exactly.
it makes sense.
Yes.
Obviously, everyone
Duh.
else is crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep. And then Yeoman asks about the night that she killed the Lord Ruler, and Vin explains everything that happened. And Yeoman says that he needs to figure out why the Lord Ruler wants them to believe that he is dead. And Vin realizes that Yeoman's only keeping her alive because he believes that she is part of the Lord Ruler's plan. Ruin begins asking Vin why she doesn't want to be worshipped by the Ska, while at the same time Yeoman is saying that the Lord Ruler is setting her up to be worshipped. And Vin says that everyone is wrong about her. She is not Kelsier's heir, but the Lord Ruler's. Elend's worried about becoming the Lord Ruler, but Vin was the one that had forced all this power onto him. Lord Ruler is not coming back because she took his place.
I found this part so interesting because, we now know that almost everything Ruin does is to manipulate people. When he's specifically kind of pushing her to respond in this exact way, really is interesting to see that whatever Yeoman and her were working towards, he wants to cut them off. He doesn't want them reaching some kind of consensus together. So I really liked that part. Because even though Vin knows she's being manipulated, it's still pretty friggin' hard to ignore those kind of exact commentaries on your own biggest fears and insecurities.
Do you guys have any theories about what she said? About being
Any
a Lord
theories
Ruler,
I had
being a
at this
Lord Ruler?
point, any theories I was having at this point kind of changed by the end of these chapters, so it's hard for me to remember what I was thinking in the time because we learned so much stuff.
That's fair.
But
Yeah, I feel like this is definitely the beginning of the what do you call it? The Sanderlanche. Yeah, I mean, because now it's like there's so much information coming like hot, fast, and heavy, and I'm like, holy cow, this is a lot. I mean, I didn't realize when we were reading these chapters, I was like, a lot of stuff happens in these chapters. I mean, a crazy amount of stuff happens in these chapters.
Yeah, I was really excited when I was rereading them. I was like, oh my gosh, these are such good chapters.
Oh yeah, they're excellent chapters. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
And then Vin says that Yeoman cannot hurt her, but he says that he might not kill her, but that does not mean that she's not in danger. He wants her to have Elend send away his armies. If Elend was as altruistic as he claims to be, then he won't steal Yeoman's supplies from his people. Vin says that Elend wants the message of the Lord Ruler left behind, and Yeoman says that both him and Vin have read it, and they know that it has nothing for Elend. Vin says that Yeoman knows why they need the city. As long as Yeoman has it, then Elend will have reason to conquer. Ruin steps forward, curious, as Yeoman asks what Vin means. And Vin says that it is the Lord Ruler's ATM. And Yeoman says that the ATM is worthless. Without the Empire and the noble houses using it, ATM is meaningless. Yeoman has Vin taken away and says that those lumps of metal do him no good. The food is the real resource. And that's the chapter.
I need somebody to remind me, how old is Vin at this point? Because, I mean, we first meet Vin, I mean, we know she's like teens.
16, yeah. I think at this point she's like 19 or 20. I want to say.
So she's still
around there.
She's still really young, but I mean, you listen to this, like this, what she's doing right now, the game she's trying to play, the mental game she's trying to play right now, years beyond her age right now.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what growing up hard does for you, I think.
You daggone straight.
You grow up on the streets, you grow up with that shitty life.
Man, this lady sees, she's seen
always
things.
Watching. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You're going to start to learn things about, when to speak, when to not, when to start thinking how another person's acting, compared to living in this nice, cushy life where you're not even going to realize any of that stuff till you're like, 70 or some shit. So
Yeah.
Yeah, but now she's playing against
fast.
gods, so she's like on another level right now. She's like, okay, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the invisible god you can't see right now sitting in the room.
I always think that gods actually, I don't know how the god here, but I always kind of feel like they don't have the simple perspective a human has because they're too big and powerful. Like they're not even going to think about like reading, like, understanding people in the same way from their high up perspective. So I always think there's a certain childishness to a god that you can exploit a bit.
That's
interesting. So you're saying their omniscience keeps them from actually being able to play a ground level war because they don't know what's going on, right?
Not in every way, but in some ways. And if you can find those ways to exploit, that's about the only power you have.
I like
It's
that.
also always funny when a god has human tendencies, as Vin's starting to figure out, because that's a scary thing to realize about something that powerful.
Right. That they can be, played, essentially.
That they even have feelings, like anything similar to what we have, that he has pride or
ego,
ambition or anything like that.
Yeah.
Ego, it's creepy. It's weird.
Yeah. It's very Greek.
Yeah. It makes me think of that, yeah.
I also love that they were talking about, like, they were arguing about worshipping Kelsier or worshipping the Lord Ruler. Like, they're both gods, and there's actually a god in the room right now that nobody's talking about.
Yeah, the irony, yes.
Only Vin can see it, so see him.
Yeah, it's true.
See, of all things I'd love to see adapted into live action, it would be whoever was playing, the visage of Reen walking around in these scenes. I'd love to see. While they have these conversations and it keeps whispering in her ear like worm tongue or whatever.
Yes, nice. I can't wait to cast Reen.
Ooh, who would be your Reen cast?
I have a couple candidates. But...
Oh yeah, Sheta puts a lot of thought into those.
Ooh.
Yeah, at the end of the books, we have fan castings in our wrap-up episodes.
Oh, that's fun.
Nice.
Alan, can we do that?
Sure.
Yay!
I don't know enough about actors to be able to even know who you're talking about, but we can do that. Yeah.
Hooray.
Like, for some of ours, like for me, I don't hold myself to people who could still realistically play them. So I have taken some from like this actor from this age or this actor from this
see,
time
that's
period.
where I would go. I'm glad you said that because I would probably be thinking of people who starred in the 60s and 70s. I'm like, yo, I would love to see so-and-so from their role in the 70s do the thing. And
young Sean Connery.
Ooh.
Yeah.
A young Rock Hudson. There it is.
Clark Gables.
I take mine.
As Spencer Tracy.
I honestly
think
if they
Sheta
do...
pretty much take ours pretty seriously about the contemporary time for the most part, as if it was being casted right now, but we don't take the budget into account for some of the actors.
Oh,
let's not do that.
Perfect.
Yeah.
No.
I think if they do a Mistborn show or movie, it's probably going to be animated. That's my guess.
I wonder.
Sazed, voiced by young Morgan Freeman.
I know one actor who wants to be in Cosmere movies.
Sorry, Alan, what did you say?
One actor who wants to be in the Cosmere movies or TV shows. I know.
Ooh.
Henry Cavill.
Well, we can't talk about
that. Was
Alan.
exactly my guess.
Save it for tomorrow.
Before you said it, I was sure it was him.
Yeah.
He's a nerd.
So I'm not going to say what character and that kind of stuff. So
this guy's got more nerd cred than he should have. I mean, you can't be that chiseled, be Witcher and Superman and all the things, and then
don't worry. Keep him away from it. If you let him be involved, it's gonna go poorly. The poor guy, everything he gets gets fucked over. So
Henry Cavill is a huge nerd, though. I mean, when he got the job for Superman, he they called him, and he was in the middle of a raid on his World of Warcraft character and refused to call back to accept the job until he was done playing World of Warcraft.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, the fact he got that Witcher spot, though, and I mean, you talk rave reviews on that. And then just crumbled the whole thing.
Well, he walked away because
he's cursed.
Because they want to keep it true with the story.
That's an alternate way of saying cursed.
Yeah. Sure.
Be careful with Witcher. That show upsets Sheta a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
How so? Tell.
I just love the books, and I'll leave it at that.
So my entry point was the video games, of course. So then I kind of got into the lore a bit because of that. And I have heard that numerous times. So now I'm like, I'm going to have to break down and just read.
Yeah, they're some of the best that I've ever read. So highly recommend.
Nice. Okay.
They're on my TBR.
Yo, I got credits right now on Audible. I'm using them right now. Boom.
Nice. I already have, I think it's the first 2 books. I just haven't got to it yet because I have too many books that I want to read.
Yeah. Problems of reading too much.
I know. I have 4 books on the go right now.
I mean, I'm reading 4 books right now. 5 books.
Yeah.
4 or
See,
5.
it's too many.
Oh.
And not enough all at the same time.
Need more.
Need more.
All right. Anything else from chapter 60 any of you want to go over?
Oh yeah, we're talking about a book. I forgot it.
Oh yeah, that thing.
Yeah, that thing.
That happens with us. It's fine.
Sorry, guys, we do that.
Yeah. Whoops.
Yeah. At this point, you guys were reading. What did you guys think about this whole ATM conversation? Like,
well, I just assumed it was like they'd been thinking the whole time. I thought it was really interesting that Yeoman is like, what? That shit's worthless if nobody can use it. I thought his logic was very sound, but I didn't expect what we learn in a little bit. So I just thought it was pretty straightforward.
I always use the analogy because I have a few acquaintances that like collect silver and stuff like that because like for they're doomsday type people. Like if there's doomsday, I'll have silver. And I was like, if the society actually collapses, no one wants your silver, dude. Like,
the only people who'd want it are people who know how to wield it, and most of them are going to be killed pretty quickly. So,
so I mean, like, it's not going to be worth anything. Like, food is going to be worth something. Silver's not going to be worth anything.
Unless society collapses because of werewolves.
True.
That's a good point.
Good point. Touche.
You never know.
Werewolves hear that.
I don't think they are doing it because of that. They're like, yeah, I'll be able to buy stuff with my silver. I was like, no, you won't.
I wouldn't take it. No, I wouldn't want it. I'd want food.
Food
and guns. I don't want fucking silver.
Yeah. I used to joke around and say, you want to invest in a metal? It's lead, like bullets.
Yeah.
That's
Dark.
It is dark. I know, but us Americans, I
know, you pesky Americans.
When the world falls, it's gonna be valuable. That's all we can say.
Yeah.
All right, on to chapter 61. I don't wonder that we focus far too much on the mist during those days. From what I know of sunlight and plant development, I realized that our crops weren't in as much danger from misty days as we feared. We might very well have been able to find plants to eat that did not need as much light to survive. True, the mist did also cause some deaths in those who went out in them, but the number killed was not a large enough percentage of the population to be a threat to our survival as a species. The ash, that was our real problem. The smoke filling the atmosphere, the black flakes covering up everything beneath, the eruptions of the volcanic ash mounts. Those were what would kill the world.
Dun dun dun.
Ash was a problem.
Oh.
Good to know. We've been wondering back and
Team
forth
Rocket,
what
I
the
think,
mists
was
are.
the real. I think Team Rocket was the real winners, and Ash was just the problem.
The Pokemon villain?
Trying to catch them all.
It took me so long to follow what the hell you were saying. I got it at the end there.
That, Alan. Came full circle back to our podcast with that one, Alan. Well done. This guy.
Gotta catch them all.
Poke sprint.
Anyway.
And no, we don't do a Pokemon podcast, just so everyone knows.
No, we didn't.
Yet.
Just do a first time watch through a Pokemon.
Yeah, there you go. Which one?
Only if we include only if we include the episode that has the epileptic seizure causing episode.
And only if one of the people are epileptic. That would be entertainment.
How about Dark?
So what'd you think of this episode?
I can see why Ruin is your favorite now.
Well, I woke up. Nice.
Yeah. No, honestly, I've watched that episode. It's not that interesting.
It's not. It's not.
Now, the band episode where the guy pulled the gun on Ash, that one was a lot more interesting and plot relevant. Because that episode is where he caught, all the tourists they had later on. Without that, you just wonder where the hell he got these 20 Pokemon.
Yeah.
All right.
Ash being a problem.
Yep. All right, so we're back with Elend, and he returns to his camp. While on his journey back, he had wondered about the Mist Spirit and what it meant by pointing at his metal vials. And Ham brings Elend a report that he had brought 28,000 Kolos. So now they have 37,000 Kolos altogether, which is enough to take the city. Elend knows that Vin is still alive because the Kolos he had given her have not gone wild. And Ham wishes that Elend would have informed him earlier that the Colossus could have gone wild if she died.
Fun.
Ham
Lost gone wild. Sorry. Sorry.
Ham gives Elend reports from their scouts that they had sent into the Central Dominance. Most of the scouts did not return. Nobody knows what happened to Damu and his men. And most of the cities that Elend had conquered in the past year have fallen, and the people are leaving the villages and heading to Luthadel. King Likal and his city fell to lava, and they have not heard from Gennarl in weeks. Ham asks what to do, and Elend says they will help them and not give up.
Now, I'm not trying to open up spoilers or anything, but can someone remind me what was going on with Damu at this point in time?
So at this point, Damu, he had been in camp, and he was one of like all the people who had been sick for like 2 weeks when they got the mist sickness.
Right.
And they were being ostracized. And they was just getting so much where a guy wound up punching Damu, and he was a general, so Elend had to execute the guy that did that.
Mm-hmm.
And for the protection for Damu and them, and to keep the army together, he had Damu and all the other Mistfallen leave and go back to Luthadel because
Wasn't it also the same guy from the first book?
Yes.
It was the guy that he's like kind of got challenged by
Kelsey.
That fight and blah,
down
blah,
in
blah.
the cave. Yeah.
Okay, well, I was trying to remember. I was like, well, wait, why wasn't Damu like in the army at that point in time? But it's like he got sent back. That was the piece I was missing. I could not remember that. Thank you.
He wasn't chosen by the survivor. He's a filthy Mistfallen or whatever they were calling him.
Filthy Mistfallen. That's right.
Do you guys have theories in the mist right now as far as...
Oh no! Here we go.
Too many to name. So much nonsense thrown out.
Alan tortured me with this constantly. By the way,
yeah, Alan's mean.
He's a mean character when it comes to the mist.
I'm glad to have learned here that the mists, they say they were focused too much on them. They weren't really that bad, So it doesn't seem like they're going to be this like friggin' eldritch evil thing that's going to claw at everyone and kill them horribly or turn them all into Koloss or some nightmare. But we'll see. We don't know yet.
Yeah.
I like the other news that Ham had given him was because we had learned that King Likal and his city fell to lava, and that was the beginning of the book where Sazed and Breeze were, where they got the treaty signed with him. So that city's gone and dead.
Yep.
Wow.
And I don't even know if we had seen Gennarl in this book, but he had taken over Straff's army after Straff got fucked up by Vin.
Oh yeah, Gennarl. Okay.
Oh yeah. Say I have the same reaction, Sheta.
Yeah.
That guy.
Is he's dead or what is it?
They just haven't heard from him in weeks, so he's probably dead.
Oh, sad.
Yeah, so then Elend walks past Set, and Set asks if they are going to attack. Elend knows that he needs to get that cash, and that Yeoman will not release Vin. He has to be the man that makes the hard decisions. He tells Set to inform the soldiers that they will attack in the morning. Don't form ranks, though, because it will be a surprise attack. He will rescue Vin, get the supplies, and head back to Luthadel, and survive as long as possible.
Throwing me for a loop in this book. I never know what to think is right and wrong. He seems to be constantly fighting and debating with himself. A little later, we get a better, feeling of that thing. But at this point, I was really, like I've always said, very curious what the moral of the story is going to be when it comes to slaughtering civilians.
Yep.
Everyone's sitting there like, yep, it does prove at the end that you've got to slaughter every single civilian in the world. That's the end of the book.
Well, if you want to make lemonade,
some casual genocide, it's
we need
to. No big deal.
Lemonade made with bone marrow.
Yeah.
All right, this was a short chapter, but anything else anybody wants to go over?
I mean, historically, militaries never target civilians, right?
No.
Well, not the ones that lose, that's for sure.
World War II was kind of my example that I have. It's a little bit of targeting.
Just a little.
That's the worst oxymoron in the world, by the way. Friendly fire.
Well, I don't think Tokyo, the bombings in Tokyo are in Germany were friendly.
No, they were not. Especially the fire bombing.
Fire bombings, yeah.
Jeez.
I think we can all agree war is a very positive thing, and we all love it. I think that's what I'm hearing here.
Absolutely. It has built so many economies in the world, which is, fueled the capitalist beast that rules the world we live in today.
Yeah.
And thank God for that.
What a wonderful world.
Capitalism.
Woo.
Yep.
So on to chapter 62. I suspect that Elend, the man Rashid killed, was himself a Mistine, a seeker. Allomancy, however, was a different thing in those days, and much more rare. The Allomancers alive in our day are the descendants of the men who ate those few beads of preservation's power. They formed the foundation of the nobility, and were the first to name him emperor. The power in these few beads was so concentrated that it could last through 10 centuries of breeding and inheritance.
Mm-hmm.
And how long has it been? I can't remember.
About 1,000 years.
1,000 years. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, just a little bit of time.
And with it saying that Elend was a seeker, that's why he could feel the well during that time, too. Just like Vin.
Mm-hmm.
So Sazed is outside Spook's room, where Spook is in a coma and recovering. Sazed is relieved to know that Spook actually cannot burn pewter. Sazed goes into the room where Beldre is. He checks on Spook and informs Beldre that he cannot promise her anything for Spook's recovery. She says that he'll make it. He's special, and he brought her brother back to what he used to be. Sazed realizes that she has hope and that she is in love with Spook, and he chides himself for being so callous that his first thought was that Spook was not a pewter arm. Sazed goes over his final religions and puts them into a pile with the rest. He has crossed all them off. There was no truth, and no faith would bring Tindwyl back to him. The depression and pain begins to take him over. Sazed reaches into his bag and pulls out the book that he and Tindwyl had written together about the hero of ages.
Oh, emo Sazed.
I know.
I just want to give him a hug.
Yeah, him and Tindwyl, though, that was reluctant, but I liked it when it happened. I miss it. I miss it.
It was pretty fucking mean of him to give us that little glimpse of hope for a romance for Sazed. We all just assumed would never have one.
Right?
And then just
the
away.
rug just pulled out from under that
I
whole
think it's
thing.
a really good way to get us in his head a little bit of how he must be feeling.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. It was such a reluctant thing, and then and then she had such a rough life. Oh Lord have mercy.
Yeah.
She had the worst life. Oh, that still hurts to this day. I mean, every time I hear her name, all I think about is like what she went through, and I was like, she never got the happy ending. She never got the happy life. She got the glimpse of it, the possibility of it, and then just snatched away from her.
Yeah.
All right. Sazed feels the pain of betrayal, which he had assumed that he would never feel. He felt it was better to believe in nothing than in a god that had failed him. Inside the book, Sazed pulls out the picture of the flower that Vin had given him. Sazed looks up and asks why he should be left without hope while others have faith. He thinks about how trust and faith is giving someone else power over you. That's why he went over all the religions. Better to not believe than to be proven wrong.
Tying the trust theme and the faith theme together very blatantly there, I thought was really interesting.
Yeah.
I never thought of it that way, as giving, trusting in something so much stronger than yourself. I thought that was an interesting way for him to put it together and to explain why he cannot do it right now at all.
Mm-hmm.
Is this a chapter, remind me, is this a chapter where he's gotten to the end of all the religions?
Yes.
Okay. Right. And I remember it's like, he's like, I exhausted all of it. He's like, I went through everything and made no progress.
Yep.
I'm like, that's, basically demoralizing to him. And for a guy that doesn't really, kind of didn't believe in faith. And then he's still looking for it though. He's looking
for something.
Yeah, exactly.
He wants to believe.
He's starting to believe. Matrix, such a good movie. Anyway.
All right. Outside his room, he can hear TenSoon saying goodbye to Breeze. Sazed thinks about how even the inhuman Kandra have more faith than him. He thinks about what he had told Vin the night that Kelsier had died, about how belief isn't only for when things are going right. He thinks about how Kelsier had said it was better to love and be hurt. Sazed's about to burn the book and all the religions, and he pleads in his mind that he wants to believe. He just needs something.
Right.
And then TenSoon tells Breeze to give his regards to the announcer. This catches Sazed's attention, and he runs out to where they are. He asks what TenSoon called him, and TenSoon responds that he had called him the announcer because he was the one that had declared Vin the hero of ages. Breeze says that TenSoon is mistaken, but Sazed says no. The original text by Quan had used the phrase announcer, but Ruin had changed it to holy first witness. Sazed asks TenSoon how he knows this term. TenSoon says that it was odd that nobody ever thought to point out what happened to Elendi's other packmen after Rashek killed him. Breeze said that Rashek gave them allomancy, but Sazed points out that they wouldn't because they were feruchemists. He tried to breed out feruchemy. And TenSoon says the Lord Ruler gave them an offer of immortality in exchange for their humanity, and the Kandra called them the first generation. When Rashek had the power, he turned every single feruchemist in the world into mist wraiths, and then gave his friends hemalurgic spikes to turn them into immortal beings.
Well, that was crazy. Sheta, that was so crazy. I'm surprised you didn't think of it.
What? What do you mean?
You always have the most batshit theories that I throw in the garbage and then turn out to be true. So I'm surprised that you didn't come up with that one.
I'm sorry. I don't.
Yeah.
Next time.
Yeah, I got you. Next time.
So Kandra are terracemen. At least the first generation.
Crazy.
Yeah, no, that is.
You know, I still didn't even put that together when I read it. Like, there was a time in this book that I just stopped even trying. I was like, it'll all come together.
If it's important, they'll say it again. Sometimes
Exactly.
if I miss a line in a show.
Yeah.
Like when we read this for the first time, I remember Alan was like, if you pay attention to the semantics of the text, it's all there. It's clearly there, but you gotta really pay attention.
All there.
That's how a lot of the other previous twists were when we go back. Yeah.
Oh yeah, exactly. The rereads are great, because you're like, oh, that's right.
It's there.
He used a past present participle, so that's the reason why. You're like, I got it. You and your
should have called the end of the first book, which is why I say that she should have called this. So it's interesting to see what somebody picks up on while reading and what somebody's like. I really felt like we should have picked up on the twist in the second book, but you wouldn't know what to look for if somebody didn't tell you ahead of time. So I think it's really interesting in these.
I always found it interesting, like the first time rereading Mistborn, how early on Kandra is actually mentioned. But it's such a throwaway thing because you have no idea what it is. Because
you're just in the world.
It's like
it just makes sense.
It's like in the second chapter or something like that when Kelsier's meeting with in I guess Cayman's Den way back with Vin. Vin's just been recruited. I don't even know if she's officially recruited yet. And they say they're asking about Osir or whatever, and he's like, oh, he's one of them, and he's like, and Kelsier's like, yeah, it's one of those. It's just like very much a nod, they were just flat out talking about it, just without saying it, but they were alluding to all of it.
Yeah, these books are great on reread. Real talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Justin, Sheta, do you still think that the first generation are fake or not there?
No, I didn't think that when I think we saw him move for half a second. Something had gotten that out of my head instead of them being cardboard cutouts up there or something.
Yeah.
You thought they were like the cardboard cutouts in Home Alone?
Yeah. At first, I thought that. I expected it to be like that, but
that's great.
A few chapters later, I had abandoned that theory completely. However,
I still love that
they
theory.
Still could be, for all we know.
Yeah, you never know.
They
There's always
just
another
left
secret.
and put them up there. I'm very surprised, Joe, when you asked last time, what's going to happen with Orsir going there, that I didn't put this together. Not this twist, but that, he's going to fucking grab Sazed, obviously. I don't know why that didn't cross my mind. I think I was too doom and gloom and hopeless to think that anything would go right ever. So
that's fair.
I also think it's interesting that when Sazed asks for a sign from God, right, it's people who give him the sign because life forms have that spirit of their God entity in them. I thought that was an interesting thing. Because we know there's no thing there right now because it just died over there in the wastes, according to the epigraph earlier. So I thought that was an interesting place for him to get that sign.
Yeah.
Yeah, so hearing all this, it means hope to Sazed. There is still one more religion he has not crossed off, and it has not been warped by Ruin. It lives on in the minds of those that practiced it. The Terrace religion, the one the Keepers have searched for 1,000 years. TenSoon agrees to bring Sazed to the Kandra homeland, since it is on the way to Vin. Hopefully Sazed can do a better job of convincing the first generation that the end has come.
Yep, makes perfect sense.
Yeah. I don't think TenSoon would be very welcome going back, though.
No.
Yeah. He's got an uphill battle.
Yeah. I don't understand why everyone doesn't like him. He didn't do anything that wrong.
TenSoon? On this podcast, we are fans of TenSoon. We like TenSoon quite a bit. I feel sad about what happened, but I forgive him.
I'm out.
I think
Alondo.
She just picked TenSoon as her favorite character for our chapters many times. I think I've done it a couple times.
Yeah.
Well, I keep track of how many times people pick or how many times certain characters get picked. But for the second book, whenever they said Orseer, I had to mark it off as TenSoon because it was TenSoon.
Everything you liked about Orseer is TenSoon.
Yeah, that's rough. That's rough, Alan. I'm now. I got to go back and listen to our old episodes and see how many times did I actually choose Orseer when it was actually TenSoon. Oh man, I'm like so conflicted right now. Ooh, it hurts in my soul.
Yeah, it hurt a lot to realize that. For like the whole first chunk, I kept calling him Orseer. I refused to call him TenSoon. It just felt painful.
It does, yes.
I like it.
All right. Anything else about this chapter any of you want to go over?
I had some thoughts, but I feel like I'm going to spoil something, and I want to make sure I don't. So I figured I would just...
Yeah, see, that's the hard part.
Myself. Yeah, because I can't remember what has been revealed and what hasn't been revealed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to I figure I just err on the side of caution and not say my
That's
thoughts.
very good. This is probably, too, going to be one of the hardest parts to avoid spoilers and one of the worst parts to get spoilers, too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, right now, in the Sandra Lynch, nope, I'm not going to ruin it. Yep.
All right. So we'll just move on to chapter 63. Ruin tried many times to get spikes into other members of the crew. Though some of what happened makes it seem like it was easy for him to gain control of people, it really was not. Sticking the metal in just the right place, at the right time, was incredibly difficult, even for a subtle creature like Ruin. For instance, he tried very hard to spike both Elend and Yeoman. Elend managed to avoid it each time, as he did on the field outside the small village that contained the next-to-last storage cache. Ruin did actually manage to get a spike into Yeoman once. Yeoman, however, removed the spike before Ruin got a firm grip on him. It was much easier for Ruin to get a hold on people who were passionate and impulsive than it was for him to hold on to people who were logical and prone to working through their actions in their minds.
This was my absolute favorite epigraph because we got confirmation that Yeoman's not spiked. And also, he came off like quite a badass. To just be like, something's wrong in my brain. There's something in my chest. My brain's telling me not to take it out, but I'm going to take it out, obviously. I think that's so interesting to imagine.
I took umbrage with and I still take umbrage with the phrase, even for a subtle creature like Ruin. Is he really subtle? I don't think he's
so. I mean,
I think he's at times he's overt. I mean,
we've read 2 books of Vin, and things that we think of as like big parts of her character were actually Ruin whispering to her, which is just the creepiest goddamn thing of all time.
Yes, yeah.
He's definitely not subtle right now when he's fucking freaking out all the time.
Right,
but
right.
If you go
but
back
it's because
to
he's been found out. Right.
I think it would be super interesting to reread this book with that in mind.
Every time she hears Raiden's voice in her head.
Yeah, subtle
and
with
wonder,
the voice
that
of her
it,
dead
or
brother.
Is that hers?
Yeah.
Creepy.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the reason I have problems with the term subtle is just because of where we're at in the book.
Oh yeah, he doesn't.
This guy is like so overt right now, and he's using like everything he's got to manipulate.
Man.
Well, he knows he's already won.
Yeah, he's definitely on the right path right now to succeed.
Well, like he told Vin, it's a matter of days, not weeks, until the planet's gone.
Right.
Which is also a bad thing for TenSoon because he said it's going to take him
That's
weeks
exactly
to get to
what I
Patrick's.
thought. He's like, oh, it's going to take a while. I'm going to have to run. I'm like, bro, it's not going to make it. Like, come on.
Yeah. Yep. TikTok.
Yep. All right. Vin is in her cell talking to Ruin, and he points out the world is getting closer and closer to destruction. Vin notes that she cannot just sit and wait, so she yells for a guard and tells him that she is willing to deal with Yeoman. Vin is brought before Yeoman and notes that he is looking much more haggard. If he is a Mistborn, then why is he not burning pewter? Vin suspects that maybe he can only burn one metal, even though it wasn't supposed to be possible to only burn atium. Lord Ruler probably hid that. Vin tells Yeoman that she will answer his questions. So he asks how they control the Koloss, and she tells him that they do it via mental allomancy. He doesn't believe her, and she says that it happens because they use Duralumin with it. And Ruin wonders what Vin's plan is. Vin tells Yeoman that there were 4 caches before this one, and they led them here. The Lord Ruler had a reason for them, and Elend thinks that he can figure something out if he reads the last plaque. Yeoman scoffs at Elend being able to figure it out. And then Vin thinks about what Yeoman wants, so she tells him that the Lord Ruler wanted her to meet with him. That's why she was propped up and why the caches have led to this city. So now that Yeoman's on her side with the Lord Ruler stuff, he brings in maps. Vin marks down on the maps the cities where they found the caches. And Vin asks if the ash is getting worse outside, and Yeoman nods that it is. She says they were always worried about the mist, but the ash will kill them. And he looks over the maps, but there's no reasoning to the cities. And then Vin gets Yeoman to bring a map of mineral deposits. She marks the cities on there, and all of them line up with areas that have high mineral contents. So Vin's able to piece it together that Kwan wrote words in steel, not just because it couldn't be seen, but also because Ruin couldn't see it. The Lord Ruler set up these caches in high mineral deposits because Ruin could not see them. And Vin realizes that she has been leading Ruin exactly where he wants to go. That's why she and Elend have survived this past year. They made the same mistake as before, but now she is on to Ruin.
Oh, this pissed me off so much. This got me pretty mad at Ruin here.
It's almost like he's a bad guy or something.
Yeah, almost.
Justin, you're actually not liking a villain right now?
It's frustrating to me to learn that the entire plot of the book has been them just doing exactly what he wants for multiple books.
It was pretty horrifying to realize that. I'm just like, crap. What have we been doing this whole time?
Mm-hmm.
Whoops.
And I don't know if they say that here, or in a couple seconds when Vin's like, God damn it, I felt like this was the right thing to do. Why did I listen to that? Because so many times in this book, I noticed her saying that, and in the previous book too, like it just felt right. I just knew it was right,
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh God, that's such a horrifying thing to realize too. But I'm glad she's starting to put together what you can trust in your head and your heart and what can be manipulated by Ruin,
But now the curtains got pulled back, and it just seems so futile. You're talking about days away, total destruction, et cetera, and it's like, what do you do? What can you do? It just seems
keep on trucking all you can.
Yeah, I mean, you just gotta have what do I always say, Alan? I hate the word, but all you can do is just hope.
Do your best.
Lauda's
Figure out
favorite
what you
word.
can figure out. Maybe there's one piece. If you don't give up, you always have the potential to find that one piece. That's my philosophy.
That's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
A lot of pressure on Vin? I don't know.
Never.
Yeah, she's always cool as a cucumber.
So Vin thinks about what it is that Ruin has been hoping to find, and then it became obvious to her. atium. Elend and Yeoman have both been saying that atium is useless, but there has been a feeling within Vin that it is important and it had to be found.
Mm.
And then Marsh suddenly enters the room.
Oh, poor Marsh.
Something about that, the way you said that made it sound like, when somebody enters like a
Like freaking
fighter
Kramer
match or something like
jumping in,
that.
Yeah.
Fighter, like another player has entered the tournament.
Oh, I was thinking of it the way Sheta said, like Kramer. Yeah, just slides in.
Oh,
And then
nice.
the audience like claps and Oh my
Hey,
gosh.
Yeoman, it's your favorite neighbor.
What was Kramer's original name? Kessler, right?
Cosmo.
No. The original name for Kramer was Kessler, I think.
I think that was in
that
a
I'm not-
pilot or a deleted scene. I believe,
Yeah,
right?
it was originally supposed
I
to
don't
be
know what it
Kessler,
was,
and then
yeah.
they changed it to Kramer. So I don't know, it's just a random thing that popped up in my head. Anyway, move on. Sorry, another Alondoism.
We get lots of fun facts all the time. It's great.
Mhm.
I love
Marsh-
Alondoisms. Sorry.
And
Go ahead.
Marsh tells Yeoman that he is about to be attacked by Elend in a surprise attack. And Marsh also tells Yeoman that he has come for what Yeoman had found in the cache. He needs the ATM, so that way Elend won't get it when the city falls. But Yeoman says that there was never any ATM in the cache. He only has 6 beads, and he had only implied that he had it to Vin as a misdirection. And then Ruin screams, no.
No.
No, like the Darth Vader no in like the episode 3 of Star Wars. It's like no.
I thought that was so friggin' funny this whole time because Yeoman had me fooled too. I love that we see that he does not reveal more information than he has to. He sees that they find it valuable, so he's like, he's not going to say it's not there, but he's not going
Right.
to lie either. I
Right.
thought it was really fascinating because if he would have just said that much earlier, things would be going a lot differently.
Mhm.
I mean, he's no rube, you know.
Mhm,
Don't
exactly.
play him off like he's an idiot, right?
No.
I mean, he's got his convictions and beliefs which are really misguided, but he's no dummy.
The Lord Ruler will return. I follow Yeoman's faith here.
Mhm.
Justin, just like 2 weeks ago, you're completely on Quellian's train of the survivor and kill all nobles.
Well, both can be true at once.
They're not mutually exclusive, right?
Yeah, exactly.
They kind of are.
We're
Well, I like
trying
to hedge my bets, Joe, okay?
There it is.
So is gray area.
I follow the rule of whichever city I'm in. That's how I work.
Which way is the wind blowing today?
Mm-hmm. When in Rome, kill nobles as the citizen decrees.
There it is.
Yeah, sounds like a safe bet to me.
So saith the proletariat.
Mm-hmm.
And so Vin tries to creep closer to Mars. She sees Elend's camp outside and the people are moving. Marsh tells Yeoman that the Lord Ruler is dead and that this city will burn before 40,000 Kolos. And Ruin tells Vin that Elend will ravage this city and that he is one of Ruin's best servants. But Vin says that Elend will not attack. He's only trying to intimidate Yeoman. Marsh says that is idealism and that Elend belongs to Ruin, just like him and her. But Vin says that Ruin does not control Elend. Ruin claims that he does, but Vin says that he's a liar. Elend won't attack because he is a better person than her.
It's a little scene of like,
Yo.
Yeah, he does. No, he doesn't.
True.
Yeah, he
He
does.
does
Yeah,
too.
he doesn't.
Yeah.
Yes, he will. Not law.
Anything you
He's
can
good
do, I
people.
can do better.
Mhm.
No, you can't. It's
Or
like
not do anything, you know?
sometimes.
Anything else in this chapter anybody wants to go over?
Just I couldn't believe the ATM thing. I could not believe Marsh showing up. And when Marsh starts it's so weird when he just starts saying stuff. He doesn't give a fuck about Yeoman anymore. He doesn't give a crap about anything. Ruin. It's interesting to watch something that claims a god to become flustered and frustrated.
Why do you
It's
think
not a
Ruin
good
wants
thing
it
to
so
see.
badly? Yeah. Why do you think
Well,
Ruin wants it?
I'm gonna guess, Sheta, have you come to the same theory I have on what he needs the
Probably,
ATM
yeah.
for? Yeah, you say it then.
For his body?
Yeah, I think the same thing. I can't imagine another reason. Now, do you think it'll be his body, or you think he needs it to like power his body, or do you think his body's just hidden in it?
A suit made of ATM. Just kidding.
It's like a mech
We're
warrior.
trying to decide if he's got a humanoid body he wants, or some kind of like Final Fantasy boss body that he's got to like rise up in and have like multiple forms
Bahamut.
of. Yeah,
Bahamut or
something like
whatever. Yeah.
something all over the top.
Every time you
I think
all
he-
say body, all I can think of is Megan the Stallion. Body, yaddy.
Oh God, no!
That's his rising up song.
I will stop reading if any song like that starts playing when I
Ruin
turn
will
the
come out
page. Like,
twerking. Like,
oh God!
Got the spark on too.
If the
Oh
word
no!
twerking appears in this book, I will shut it and I will
Oh
leave.
no! Oh man! Now I want to see it happen.
But what
I
if?
guess, we gotta stop reading then, guys.
Oh God.
But now, Justin, what if Brandon Sanderson invented the word twerking, and then people later took it and used it and changed it up in their own way?
Okay.
Ooh.
So does the
Ooh.
meaning of twerking in Brandon Sanderson's book have the same meaning as our world? That would be the question.
Well, it's the way you fight. So I mean, this is a little spoiler, and I'm sorry, but like for the end, the way you fight a god is you have a twerk off, and Finn has to really just
Oh no,
yeah.
no.
And they twerk over that body, yada yada.
You twerk over the body, yada.
No. Also, Vin seems like she's a lot more lithe, thin, and athletic. I don't think she's going to have the twerking power that obviously Ruin's body is going to have when it rises.
That'll be Elend's secret power.
I'm a
no,
twerk champion.
Pewter does some wonderful things, man. Pewter does some magical things.
She don't have the body yada for it.
No, they all turn and they're like, "That's why Alrian's been here this whole time. It's your time to step up."
We need a twerk master.
Elrian.
I hate this. I hate this with a passion.
Well, sorry.
It's the next metal you're going to learn about. Vin's going to find some mercury, drink that, she'll burn mercury, and we'll let her twerk.
Nope.
Twerkery.
Oh, no.
That's really
Well,
Sazed who
think,
just has to
you know-
eat a bunch of pewter, or uses metal mines to like bulk up, He can just bulk up.
God. Just out of the fear that that's how this ends, I think I'm no longer going to finish this book.
Oh my gosh. We can go
I'm
on.
sure
I
it will
haven't-
probably
yeah.
be fine. Minimal twerking.
Minimal.
Yeah.
Justin, just have faith in Sanderson. He could pull it off.
Yeah.
I now feel like middle of the book says it. I have lost all faith.
All right, so on to chapter 64. One might notice that Ruin did not send his inquisitors to Fadrix until after Yeoman had, apparently, confirmed that the ATM was there in the city. Why not send them as soon as the final cache was located? Where were his minions in all of this? One must realize that, in Ruin's mind, all men were his minions, particularly those whom he could manipulate directly. He didn't send an inquisitor because they were busy doing other tasks. Instead, he sent someone who, in his mind, was exactly the same as an inquisitor. He tried to spike Yeoman, failed, and by that time, Elend's army had arrived. So he used a different pawn to investigate the cache for him and discover if the ATM really was there or not. He didn't commit too many resources to the city at first, fearing the deception on Lord Ruler's part. Like him, I still wonder if the caches were, in part, intended just for that purpose, to distract Ruin and keep him occupied.
Yeah, that's really interesting. It's so strange to read a revelation and then have the epigraph talk about it like we knew all along in the very next page and start to theorize about it like you are doing while reading. Sometimes it feels like having somebody just standing there talking over your like, hey, did you put this together? Did you put this together? I'm like, bro, I'm trying to read. Calm down.
All right, chapter begins and Spook is dreaming, and someone tells him that he absolutely must get that message sent. Spook has a clue that no one else does. The person tells Spook that he did well and that he is proud of him.
Well, we didn't know he was dreaming at the time. That was such a weird way to start it. I read that 3 times trying to figure out what was being said or what was happening until I'm like, Jesus Christ, something big is happening here.
Mm-hmm.
And then Spook wakes up and sees Breeze and Beldre. He asks where Sazed is, but Breeze informs him that Sazed has left. And Captain Gorodel enters as Spook asks how the city is. He's told that the ash is falling worse and that there are refugees flooding into the city. Spook says that he needs to get a message out. Breeze tries to tell him that they can't with all the conditions out there, but Gorodel says that he will take it. Spook tells him to bring him a sheet of metal because Spook has something that must be written on steel and that he cannot say out loud.
Nice and short. This really brought me back to, or was that the end of the chapter for that one, or was that a different one? Yeah.
Yep, that's it.
Brought me back to some of those Elantris chapters. Nice and short.
The Wraithen chapters? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Anything else in this chapter you want to go over?
I certainly have theories on it, but I'll save it till we get to theory time.
Theory time.
Yeah, me
Theory
too.
time.
Yeah,
The
very-
idea of Spook loosely waking up and having some voice, ethereal voice, talk to him from beyond, and then knowing he's got to write something down. I knew they weren't going to tell us what it was, of course, but I'm super interested to find out.
Yeah, I'm interested to hear your theories on that one.
All right, so we'll just go on to our last chapter that we read for today, chapter 65. In those moments, when the Lord Ruler both held the power at the well and was feeling it drain away from him, he understood a great many things. He saw the power of Ferochemy and rightly feared it. Many of the Terrace people, he knew, would reject him as the hero, for he didn't fulfill their prophecies well. They'd see him as an usurper who killed the hero they sent, which, in truth, he was. I think, over the years, Ruin would subtly twist him, make him do terrible things to his own people. But at the beginning, I suspect his decision against them was motivated more by logic than emotion. He was about to unveil a grand power in the Mistborn. He could have, I suppose, kept Allomancy secret and used Ferochemists as primary warriors and assassins. However, I think he was wise to choose as he did. Ferochemists, by the nature of their powers, have a tendency towards scholarship. With their incredible memories, they would have been very difficult to control over the centuries. Indeed, they were difficult to control, even when he suppressed them. Allomancy not only provided a spectacular new power or new ability without that drawback, it offered a mystical power he could use to bribe kings to his side.
Yeah, a lot of unveiling going on here.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we begin the chapter with Elend, and he's watching as the Koloss march towards Fadric City. And Ham informs him that they should be able to scale the walls and take the city easily. Elend asks Ham if this was right, and Ham points out that it does make sense since it is their only way to save Vin, and they cannot besiege the city any longer. But it also seems immoral to send Koloss in and likely kill innocent children. But then, more children may die if they don't take the city. And Elend realizes that he should not have asked for Ham's opinion. But then Ham says no, they should not attack. Elend finds it surreal that Ham came to a decision, and then tells Ham to have the army pull back. They will leave and go back to Luthadel.
Ham thinks like I do, or a bit, where it's just back and forth and you never really come up with an actual answer. So it was funny to have him answer that immediately after.
I felt like there was like a mind meld thing that happened between Vin and Elend here. I mean, it's just they're like right on the same page. He's like, I know him. He's not going to do it. And he's like, I don't know why, but I think it's best we don't do this.
I think that mind meld is called true love and just understanding each other so well.
What is this true love you speak of? That exists? What?
Oh
What?
Man, you poor soul.
Tell me more. Like, does she have a friend?
No, she has no friends. She
has no friends. Oh,
true love is single. I'm sorry, or is taken already. I'm sorry.
Got it.
Yeah, and this whole Elend part, I just like it because it's the culmination of his story, like throughout this entire book, with him going back and forth as to, I need to become harder, I need to do this, do that. Vin tries to tell him, you can still be a good person and a good leader, but he keeps going like on a darker path. Then it gets to this point where it's really, do I choose the darker path or not? And he decides, no, I can't do that.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, it's been back and forth the whole book. I've been so curious. What is the, quote, right thing to do when you're at the level of being an emperor? What's the book going to think, And it's interesting that before he grabbed the Koloss and he's like, there's killing to do. And then next chapter, the spirit comes in and is like, just does a few waves and stuff. But he gets a sense that there is something other than what he's seen. And that's helped, I think, lead him to this, where he's like, you know what? Screw this. This is not worth it. This is wrong. Especially when the thing is saying, get to Luthadel. This is nothing, So I think it's really interesting. And I'm very glad because nothing was going to be sadder than Vin saying he won't attack, and then thousands of Koloss slaughter everyone in the city, and Yeoman's like, well, I guess you guys suck. That would have been quite a sad next part.
But at least we can say that this whole thing checks out. I mean, from the very first moment we knew of Elend, this guy was reading books at balls, right? I mean, he was like, enamored with the plight of the people who were in the lower subjugated classes. He wanted to know more about what was going on with the Ska and etc. And at least it all checks out. That he is the kind of person who would have a second, he would just take a beat and be like, no, wait a minute, this isn't the right thing. So I'm glad that this was set up way in the past. in terms of his like upbringing and how he like went against the idea of subjugation and all those concepts. And he was like, no, it's not about brute force and power and who's in charge. It's about what's best for everybody. And yeah, he wields ultimate power, but ultimately he's like, this is not best for everyone involved. And I was happy with the decision, and it made sense. It's not a heel turn that you see in like some like books and stuff where it's like all of a sudden when somebody just becomes altruistic, on a whim, and it's like, wait a minute, why? You were like a war hungry tyrant, and now all of a sudden you're like, I'm gonna be the good guy. I hate that. But he's been telegraphing this play from day one that he is not that kind of person, and I liked it. It all checked out for me.
So what I hear is Alondo does not like redemption arcs.
Does not like redemption arcs that are undeserved. Absolutely not.
Darth Vader is just Darth Vader.
Darth Vader did it for the babies. No.
That's why I find it so interesting that across this book specifically, a little bit in the previous book too, we've seen it makes so much sense to have to do all these really dark, scary, evil things, to just have to. It just, all these really good arguments about why it is, especially if you think I need the ATM in there, and all that stuff. And so it's really interesting that even at this point, Elend is on the fence about it. He's got his morality, his like beliefs, but he's also got this pragmatic, just, you kind of have to do this,
Right.
And that I've been wondering the whole book, like, why is Ham still here? Ham's not fucking doing anything for like this whole book. But now I'm like, Ham is here for this one moment. Because I feel like if he didn't say that, that was the one little bit Elend just needed to tip over to the side of what you would call probably good, So I was really glad for that. That's made me feel bad about being critical of him not doing as much here. Because clearly now he was just being saved for this little moment.
Again, it's for the people that help you.
Very true. That's true.
Help you with your faith, help you with your morals and things like that.
Right.
I like here.
I think you got something.
Yes, I was like, we just saw Spook fight Ruin in the same way, like a mental morality battle inside him, like whether or not you want to do something super evil or follow what you believe is right and good and stuff. And I like this battle. Ruin thinks he's won and stuff, but the humans our characters are still fighting him internally with what preservation they have in them, So I think that's what's gonna win out at the end. Hopefully, we'll see.
Yeah, I like that take. Yeah, Ruin thinks that his enemy is dead, but his enemy is still everywhere. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Yeah, in our characters, in our survivors. So I hope that he all these things he's trying to challenge in, thinking Elend's my boy, the Spook is mine too. Like Din and them are mine, but they are still fighting and they're still like not letting him. So I'm glad. I think that's the real battle. Not like one with violence and Koloss and killing, but one like that.
Yeah. It's kind of silly to think that the ending battle would be an actual war when we've got all these religious and moralistic themes. Yeah, you're right.
That Spook is a precious angel baby, and he does no wrong. So, sorry, Ruin.
I don't know. When he killed those couple guards, I was kind of mad at him. Those people
it was the guards'
blackmailed
fault
to be there. Oh, jeez. Oh, no. That's what they get for having family.
How dare you have kids?
Dummies.
To be fair, Spook was being manipulated by Ruin at that exact moment. Because he didn't go on the stage to kill until Kelsier's like, hey, start killing these people.
Man, you know who else was manipulated by Ruin? Yeoman, and he just pulled his out. That's what I'm saying.
Nice.
Well, he won out at the end. That's what matters.
He did. Which
he
is
figured
super
it out.
badass. As it said, somebody who's more logical and straight, they're going to be able to easily kind of start fighting against something that feels wrong in their head. But Spook is not like that. He's very emotional. So him turning against it, that's badass.
Yeah, and Spook's always been a follower,
Yep, that too. Yep.
Yeah, he listens, and especially to Kelsier, who he thinks is him. So this was a greater accomplishment, I think, for him.
Spooks? Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Especially as we see in a couple seconds, as logical as Yeoman is, he doesn't turn as quickly against things being obviously wrong as Spook does, So that's quite strong will there.
All right, so we go back to Vin, and she sighs in relief as she watches Elend's army pull back, which surprises Ruin. She tells Ruin that she and Elend knew all along that he was searching for the ATM, and that they just strung him along. She knows that metal is like light blinding to his eyes. And Marsh grabs Vin and lifts her up. She tries to reach for his sash. Vin tells Yeoman that he can trust Elend, and Marsh tosses Vin aside and tells Yeoman to send his men out to attack Elend. And since the Inquisitor is pretty much a priest of, the Lord Ruler, Yeoman listens to him. And then we go back to Elend, and he watches as Yeoman's men leave the city, and Elend wonders what the hell is going on. And as he watches this, he shouts at Ham to sound a retreat. And Ham's like, this is the strangest retreat ever. And back to Vin and Yeoman. Yeoman has tears going down his face, and he says that this is all just a test from the Lord Ruler. Marsh grabs Vin again, and she tries to reach for his sash again. And Ruin tells Vin that she was the one being played for a fool. Would he let them control them if it wasn't for his gain?
Oh, it was so good.
Exactly what I was scared of from the beginning, from the second book on.
Yep,
was
that's
this
right.
exact literal thing. Especially when he's like, "Oh, don't worry, I grabbed 10,000 more Kolos or however." I'm like, "Stop grabbing Kolos! Oh God,
nothing can possibly go wrong."
No,
especially Justin was really worried that he grabbed them and there was no Inquisitor there.
Yeah, I was like, I don't like what's happening here, man. This seems off. I don't trust Kolos. I don't think you should.
Plus, you don't really understand why there is this connection. Your ability to control them, right? You lucked into being able to control, but you don't understand why. And
it was the same thing with how he controls the Inquisitors, and as they learn about the spikes in them, how they control that, I'm like, I don't trust these things. Get them out of here. They're too dangerous. Have them all jump off a cliff and just kill themselves. We don't need these things.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Just don't.
Yep. Let's just play a game of lemmings. Send them on. Yep.
That's
However,
cruel. What about
if
human?
I were Elend, well, we'll see. We'll see how that goes long term. Shit, I could be wrong. They did say he has a part to play. He plays it a little bit here. Could be more. I don't know.
All right, and we're back with Elend, and he feels a ripping sensation as the control of the Kolos is stolen from him. And then his former Kolos begin to attack Elend's men.
Imagine this, by the way. I mean, you're on the battlefield. You have these huge honking things, like this enormous force, right? And then all of a sudden, in one just movement, they all just turn around, and they're about to attack you. I can't even imagine.
That's what I would have been. That's what I would have been expecting every second of every day if I was in that army.
Yeah, I would never feel comfortable. I mean, because these behemoths have torn the land asunder anytime they happen upon any town, village, whatever, and you see them coming. You're like, oh well, I guess we're getting wiped out. Now you're fighting alongside with them, and then you just go along, and they're just you're just following them. Oh, we're going into retreat, and then all of a sudden they turn around, and they're eyeing you.
It reminds me of the Carthage war elephants and what the Romans would do, because going back to historical things, so they would have the elephants out front to charge into the infantry lines because the elephants just stomp through them.
But you talking about Hannibal when he?
Yeah, but so the Romans would grease up pigs and then light the pigs on fire to scare the elephants. And the elephants would turn around and start running back towards their own. So Carthage army is running up, and they had the elephants out in front, and then also the elephants turn around and start running back running away from these burning pigs because the elephants
right, because the elephants didn't care about the enemy. All they cared about was just going forward.
It's a double-edged elephant. Yep.
Right. A double-edged elephant is the name of my new rock band I'm starting tomorrow.
So the elephants charge back, to their own lines. Yeah. So Similar to
that was actually
Kolos.
one of his last defeats. Was that same situation exactly? Yep.
Alan, you always
Sorry.
have fun facts to reduce my
I
faith in
know.
humanity.
Reduce my
Reduce faith. I'm
to
thinking,
reduce her faith.
Jeez, man, lighting pigs on
Yeah.
fire to
Yeah,
scare
exactly.
elephants gives me
Yeah.
faith in humanity. That is clever.
jeez. Tree.
I never would have thought of that. The fact that somebody out there would have makes me think we can solve any problem if we have enough pigs.
Should
Oh
put
my
our money
God.
on it.
I think if Alan and I got together and wrote a book of the things that could really just have you think the worst about the humanity in the world, yeah, it's rough. I ain't gonna lie.
We get
It's
little clips of that
terrible.
every week.
We do. I know. We bring up stuff every week where it's like, hey, have you heard of the depravity of humans? Here's another one.
Yeah.
Oh, joy.
So sorry.
So
sorry.
yeah, they used to call them war pigs, incinerary pigs or flame pigs, and
Now that
Is
is
that where
actually
that
the name
term
for a
comes
band.
from? Is that
it's
where that
actually
comes
where
from?
that
is where the term
My
comes
God.
from.
My
Yep.
God.
War pigs.
Badass.
Nice.
I love it.
Yeah, the first people ever to use it was actually Alexander the Great.
Yep.
Used
Well,
as a
then he
secret weapon
deserved his name.
against war elephants. Yeah. But the Romans used it too, but the Greeks actually first used it.
Well, yeah, the
Yay,
Romans copied everything the
humanity.
Greeks did.
And then after you use them, bacon for everybody.
Oh yeah, I was like,
I guess I don't hate that part.
No one hates bacon.
Yeah. I prefer my bacon wasn't like chaotically burned to death.
screaming. Yeah.
Now,
Yeah,
Tree,
but bacon's
I think
so good that you're not going to question it.
Tree, I think we've checked off the 2 boxes, right? So there's we always do a tangent, that goes like way out of bounds, and we talk about food. So we
And we
brought it
talk
back
about
to
food.
bacon.
Yeah, I leave
So I
hungry
think
every
we've
time.
accomplished both. Alan, I think
That's a twofer,
we've
yeah.
accomplished our goal.
Yeah, I wish I had my little soundbite for the more you know, like NBC.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I'm always traumatized and hungry at the end of our podcast.
That's right. There you go.
All right. So back inside, and Marsh tells Vin that hemalurgy is Ruin's power. And then Ruin asks once again where the A-Team is. Vin manages to grab a vial off of Marsh's sash and drinks it. She breaks free from his grip and then takes off her earring and shoots it at his forehead with duralumin, which takes him down. She takes Marsh's other vial away from him and drinks it. And then Vin tells Yeoman to bring his man back into the city, and he says that he must have faith. And Vin can still feel her Kolos. Ruin had only taken Elend since it was the larger group, and he just ignored her small one. So then she quickly commands her Kolos to attack Yeoman's men, and she points out to him that, see, the Kolos will attack anybody.
Oh, that was good, man.
I think
Not what I
Vin's so
expected to
creative.
do.
Yeah.
Ruin takes the Kolos away from Vin, but it's too late, and Yeoman orders his men back into the city, and to also allow Elend's men in. And then Marsh grabs Vin's leg and gets up to his knees. He tells her that if Yeoman is dead, then his men will follow Marsh. Vin tries to use duralumin and soothing to take control of Marsh, but she reaches a wall that she cannot pass. Marsh grabs her throat and begins strangling her. And then the mists are coming in through the window, and they begin to swirl about around Vin, and she draws upon them. With this new massive power, she pushes on Marsh's emotions again, and this time she breaks through. She feels Marsh's emotions, and also knew that Ruin was not the same as the mists. Marsh cries out and drops Vin before retreating out of the room. Vin wonders why she was able to draw upon the mists now. And then for the end of the chapters we read this week, we jump back to Elend, and he's fighting against the Kolos, but he knows that his men will not be able to win this fight. And Set remarks that at least they will be able to die in battle instead of die from starvation. And then Vin lands in front of Set and tells Elend to retreat into the city. Yeoman will allow them. And that's our chapters for this week.
Yay.
Such
I'm glad
good
to have that answer.
chapters.
Great chapters.
Glad to have that answer on the mists. That was stuck in my head for a while. Whether they were really of Ruin or not.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. That's a big reveal.
Mm-hmm. I figured it had to be that they weren't, because it would be kind of lame to set the book in a world covered in mist and have all these cool Mistborn, and then at the end be like, no, the mist actually sucks, let's get rid of it. Like, that wouldn't be a very fun ending. You'd be like, you were actually lame for liking the mist.
Wrong.
Yeah.
All right. Anything from this chapter, jumping back and forth between Elend, that anybody wants to go over?
There's a lot, but I'm afraid to say things.
I like Yeoman. I like Yeoman in this moment. I mean, because he's struggling a lot with faith right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I appreciate, him making the decision that he did at the end of this chapter. So kudos to him.
When you're stuck with the question of, am I being tested? Am I being manipulated by the betrayer or the deceiver or whatever, and all this stuff like that? That is not an easy question to ask. No. Answer as a mortal man.
Yeah. I mean, we all can say right now, sitting, in front of a computer in our, posh environments and whatever, and be like, oh, yeah, I would easily make the decision. It's like, no, you wouldn't. You don't know what you would do in that situation. I don't know that I
would have, man.
I wouldn't have. I don't know if I would have. I mean, in fact, I'm pretty sure 75% chance I would not have made the decision. So
to have that much faith and have all these things running through, I think that the evidence, as for a logical man like that, there is enough evidence that you are not following your God. And if you want to do right by your God, maybe another path would be there. But there's always an equal amount of evidence that this is all a test, and you're just,
right. Right.
And the Lord Ruler will come back and be like,
yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Could be. So kudos to him.
Yeah. Ooh.
All right. Well, I guess we'll move on to our theories and predictions segment. So first, I'll just ask Justin and Sheta if they have any just theories or predictions they want to throw out there on their own.
Let's see. Well, we were saying a little bit about the voice that spoke to Spook in his half dream. I think, or probably you came to the same kind of conclusion, Justin, that I think that is the real Kelsier's voice or spirit in him, and speaking through what preservation is in Spook. That's what I think.
I did come to a similar belief in that. Maybe that's just a sad hopefulness on our parts for Kelsier to still be out there. But just the idea that Spook basically died. So I think he came back with something from the other side, because the afterlife has been a big theme in these. I think there's going to be an afterlife of some sort or something beyond what we know as life. I couldn't guess what it is, but I think so. Do you agree with the afterlife segment, or do you think that he's like a specific essence that still exists for another reason?
You think he died?
Kelsier?
Mm-hmm. No, Spook.
I think that he got very close to dying, like he was drifting between. That's my theory on that. What do you think, Sheta?
I mean, I'm trying to think if anyone else has had a near-death experience or...
Well, that ties into my other theory.
Oh, what?
I think that Vin is able to call upon the mist when she gets very, very close to dying, because she was fucked up against the Lord Ruler. Now, I don't have enough to say that explicitly as my theory, but currently that's the only thing those two times had in common, unless there's another thing I'm missing, which could be a proximity to Ruin or something. That's my current one.
There's one other thing I will throw in there that may be a wrench into that, is that she was almost dying to Zane. Like, she was stabbed by him and everything. She was desperate.
Yeah.
And she could not draw on the mist then.
Yeah, she was desperate, but I don't know if I believe she was dying yet.
I think
she was stabbed in the heart, the chest.
Yeah, but
I think...
It's just a flesh wound. It's just a flesh wound.
Just a flesh wound, yeah.
Justin, I think that's okay. I think he...
We need them gifts, Alan, right now.
Tis but a scratch. Tis but a scratch.
Tis a scratch.
I think that theory is okay. I just think, for me, I thought it was because of her, when she's super connected to preservation, that's when she would be able to draw on the mist. Because in that moment, I think she really, confronts Ruin and has abandoned him to... Yes. So I think it's, however, the closeness of her to preservation, or the power of that in her.
Does that work if her goal was to kill the Lord Ruler? How's that work in that moment?
Because humans don't have the same rules as preservation, I think.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I think they can do. They have the freedom that humans have, So she will use it for whatever she needs. That's why I think they're really good tools
You think she's going to
for
use the
preservation and
power of
ruin.
like love and friendship to win everything? I think we even talked about
Yeah.
that before.
Yeah.
Oh man, what is this? My Little Ponies? I love it.
Yeah, basically.
Care Bears. It's Care Bears, all right?
Oh, he's going way back. He's going 80s. Here we go.
Care Bear
Yes.
stare.
Care Bear stare. Yes.
Between what you're saying, Joe, and what you're saying, Sheta, then I do back off from that second part of the theory. But I do agree it's Kelsey or Sheta. It just feels like, I don't know why, it just feels like it has to be in some way. Who else would it be? That's the question. Besides it could be some entity we haven't seen yet, but I feel that'd be a bit boring unless it was really awesome. Or that Alphalacio or whatever show the name was. It could be something like that too. Adenalcium. I like mine. Alphalacio. Alfalfa back there speaking, yeah.
Okay.
Any other theories?
Just the one about the adium hiding the body. That's what he wants it for. I don't know. I can't think of another one I have.
Oh, I have one. The atium. He's not. So instead of using the atium for building his body or powering his body, I think he's gonna eat the atium and time travel and go grab his body. So wherever it's stuck at.
Why do you keep bringing time travel back into these theories, Sheta?
This is not time travel, but like he'll see something and then learn something, and that's how he's gonna.
Oh,
find
he'll
the body.
use it in some way we're not aware of. But
Yeah.
he's like blind to the metals, right? He doesn't know them. That's why I think that it might just be hiding it. But then he'd know where to look because he'd know where he can't see. But I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Still think that's involved.
Interesting.
All right, then I'll have our guests, if they have any questions they want to ask you two, I'll let them ask.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. Yeah, I don't want to spoil stuff, so I'm
I
gonna
know.
refrain from asking too many questions.
Yeah, I have some questions, but I'm afraid of anything being too leading.
Implications.
Yeah.
Look,
Look, all I know is, take me away. I don't mind. You better promise me I'll be back in time. Sorry,
Oh, goodness,
you
no.
listening,
No.
gotta do it. Just
Goodness, no.
random, I guess, Back to the Future, gotta just bring that out.
Gotta go. Yep.
All right, then I just have two questions for Justin and Sheta. We'll see what they think. All right. First, what was the message that Spook is going to write down and have Gordell
Ooh, that's a
take?
good one.
Nice.
Very good.
What's the message?
Sheta.
Huh?
What's
What?
the message? Oh, yeah, you go first.
I just thought it was that. I just thought, I assumed it was that Kelsier, or the fake Kelsier, is Ruin, and he's starting people, spiking them, and controlling them. But that would be kind of boring.
Yeah, and they
Or-
already pretty much know that.
Yeah, so it wouldn't be an urgent message.
It's not going to be how to use the adium to time travel, Sheta.
It's gonna be you
Sounds
have
like-
to work on your twerking skills.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I guess I was wondering who you thought told Spook the message, but you guys already said Ghost Kelsier, I guess. Kelsier from the other side. Do you both think that?
Kelsier from the other side, or I would also think some other entity from the other side that we don't know about yet. I doubt that it would just be like it's just a dream he had. It means nothing. It's not anything.
Yeah, but the message, what did you think it was, Justin?
Oh, I haven't put any thought into it because I figure whatever it is something that I wouldn't even know about yet, just like our characters wouldn't. But it could be something that's been implied in the text multiple times. Maybe Spook will write this entire epigraph as a thing from the future sent to them and bring it to themselves. Or I think it's just going to detail something about how their enemy wants to use ATM or some other thing to win, and some secret piece they can use to stop it. That's all I got. Something pretty generic.
That voice could also be Clubs, maybe, speaking from the afterlife to Spook. Because
yeah.
it seems to
That's
have
true.
known
Clubs.
Spook, like I'm proud to be Spook, Like he knows, or whatever, whoever it is knows Spook.
That's true. It could be Dachshund for all we know. It could be anything.
Dachshund. Because he loves the boy so much.
Yeah, he's just so close with the boy.
Don't think he ever spoke to Spook.
All right, then my other question will be, where is the ATM? We've pretty much spent 2 books looking for it, plus the entire first book was all about it. And now we know it's not in Fadrix, so where the hell is this ATM that they've been searching for?
It's in the box at the end of the movie 7.
Mm-hmm.
What's in the box?
I feel
It's in the
like
hearts of the friends we met along the way.
everyone's going
Oh,
back to
no.
Infidel. That would be my guess. They're probably
Yeah, I
going to
thought that
meet
too.
TenSoon on the way back, right? Though, like, that'd be a pretty ballsy place to hide it, since that's where Ruin was. It could also be in, like, some totally different location we've never heard of, and it's not actually relevant to the story at all.
Bottom of the ocean.
Like, in the ocean, in space somewhere, you know?
No, my
Like,
real
it's
guess
just-
is probably the new terrace land where the ATM mines were. Like they never really left.
Man,
They just-
hide the ATM under the ATM mines. That's a pretty good one, too.
That's how I do it in Minecraft. So it's gonna
Yeah.
So you're saying the ATM's at the pits of Hathsin?
yes.
Well,
where
near
the
it, right?
survivor was
Not
born.
literally in it, right, Sheta?
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, I just think it's in that
Mhm.
town or whatever.
Like there was never a stockpile of ATM hidden somewhere except where we already knew it was, basically.
Yeah, where the last place you'd look.
Would be exactly. I don't know.
Yeah, could be
I
too.
feel like
that
that'd be
it
the
is,
first place Ruin would check.
Not thoroughly though. You know,
Yeah,
kind
true.
of one of those. Yeah. Also the Condra land, maybe like
Yeah,
wherever they
that's
are.
another one. Yeah.
Those are the major places.
Mm-hmm. Like that could even be tied to the thing TenSoon's sending them to do about the end of times. We need to
Yeah,
eat all the
exactly.
ATM and turn into a Megazord or whatever, you know?
Yeah,
Megazord.
yeah. All Condras combined.
Yeah. Oh god, that'd be fucking
Oh.
badass.
Ooh.
Now you've got
Is
me
this like a
hoping,
Voltron
Sheta.
situation now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just
Yeah.
hundreds of Condra just combining
Yes.
into one giant fucking Lovecraftian
Nice.
nightmare.
Eat a bunch
Wow.
of
Sounds
bones.
awesome. Shooting mist wraiths at the enemy. I'm all for it.
So the book ends with the kaiju fight. Like Ruin shows up as a giant kaiju, and the
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Condra
This
are
is what
a
I've
mech.
been expecting. And if that
Yes,
happens, I will
exactly.
eagerly finish that book.
Yeah, but what if they are the champion of the twerk battle?
Nope.
No.
You had him on. You had him on, and then you
Giant
like
city
shoot him away
twerking
immediately.
like
No,
the
I'm
mighty
not reading this
Condra.
book anymore. I
Oh
quit.
no.
Yeah.
Oh no. You had him with the Voltron, and then
And then we
immediately
lost
shoot him
him
away
again.
with the twerking.
But they
The
can eat the
Miley
right
Cyrus
bones.
twerking.
They
Oh
can eat the
no.
right bones just to get the right, body shape for.
But look at the
No,
bones.
Okay,
no.
I'm just trying
No,
to
it's
keep
the terrace.
expectations.
Imagine Sazed using his metal mines to make like his booty.
Wait, you're still on that?
give him
I
the
thought
right
you were going to say
equipment.
something real.
Sorry. Just so he got really big to fight, he's gonna be like, okay, I need my twerk body.
Oh
and he does
no.
that.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I've been saving up that ass and I'm going to put it all out now and it's going to be epic.
Exactly.
Woo!
That ass.
Sazed, you were always
Well-
had such a flat ass and now you know why.
Man, of all the things I did not think was going to be said on this podcast.
Well, Justin,
love
if
that.
it eases your worries, Sazed has not been using his metal mines in the past year, so he does not have one stored up for that.
Oh, thank God. Then I know that.
As far as
There
we
it is.
know.
There it is. That ass. Love it.
All right, so now we'll move on to your characters of the week. So if everyone wants to say their favorite character for these chapters.
I'll start because I've already said it. It is Yeoman. I loved Yeoman in these chapters. I thought it was cool that he was able to pull that spike out, that he's super religious but super logical, really reminded me of Hrathen quite a bit, which I enjoyed. And I like that he's their enemy and he's ideologically opposed. Seems like they're going to be forced to kind of ally together, which I'm glad about because I really enjoyed when Elend and him were having their debates earlier. And I have a soft spot for weirdly like religious zealots who are pushed to their absolute brink and then have to figure out what they even think after that, especially when they're on like the more antagonistic side. I find it very fascinating.
Yeah, you would like him.
Mm-hmm. I've been looking for an excuse to love him this whole book, and now they just gave it to me.
Yeah, he's conflicted and complex.
Mm-hmm.
So great,
very
pick.
interesting.
Great pick on that one. Yes.
I like it too because it ties into the overall faith narrative that this whole book has had. The previous book did. I assume it's going to be a thing about like, you know, what is faith? What does it do? Blah, blah, blah. You know, it's clearly not meant to be an evil thing, even though there's characters who are misled by it, do evil acts across both the books we've read. So it's interesting to see somebody who is, from the outside, looks like he's doing an evil thing by following his faith. But if you follow his own moral guideline, even the stuff about the ska, you know, you can understand his perspective. And it's really interesting to write that character as not just a stock evil villain. You just say, oh, he's evil, and then kill him off. I find this much more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Even if he turns out to be evil in a few chapters, I'll still find it interesting.
Yeah, no, I love that pick.
Well, I'm gonna have to go with Vin for my pick for being a badass.
Nice.
Totally bluffing Ruin into freaking out. I thought it was very badass. And using something like when she's like, "Yeah, we knew what you were trying to do all this time, and we were onto it." Like, I thought that was just such a bold move. Like, she's talking to a god, and she's so bold and like, I don't care. You're bad. I'm gonna mess with you, and she's just so confident. And for breaking herself out of there after messing up with Ruin's plan and then getting to Elend and freaking rescuing Elend and his entire army too. So not only did she rescue herself, she is found a way to rescue the army possibly, and her husband. So badass.
I agree. I was really proud of her when she bluffed Ruin like that. You little fool.
Yeah.
We knew all along.
She bluffing God, right?
And he's like, what? No, you didn't. I thought that was so funny.
She's such a badass. I love her.
I mean, she's been a badass for like 3 books, but still.
I know. She's always,
I mean, she's an easy pick, but she's still a qualified pick every time, right?
I know.
I mean,
she's still one of my all-time favorite characters.
Oh my god, yeah. Where's the cosplay of her like on Halloween? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, Alondo, do you want to pick?
Oh, I'm gonna go ahead and go Orsier because he was mentioned. Boom! Drop my.
And I'll pick my dear man Breeze, and I will not be taking any questions.
Of course, you're gonna pick Breeze. Come on, guy.
Right? Just because we can at this point, like I'm gonna pick Spook just because I can.
He's mentioned, so he's in there. So yeah.
No, I really wanted to pick Vin too.
You can.
Yeah, she's badass. I love her so much, but
yeah, she's like amazing.
I also really love Spook, but Spook didn't really do much these chapters.
He recovered from basically being dead.
Yeah, he recovered, and he's like the messenger person, which is cool. But
no, Spook is a great pick.
He's amazing. I love him.
You didn't get to see in these chapters. You didn't get to see what he went through, but he went through some things.
Oh, so, I know.
Yeah, I think Spook is a good pick.
Yeah, I'll just pick Spook since Vin's already been picked, and I agree with all of your reasonings as well. She's just a badass.
Okay. All right, and then I'm gonna go with Sazed.
Nice.
I liked his
one too.
His whole like getting through the last religions and then just having like a going into depression, a breakdown, and just he wants to believe in something. He just wants anything, and pretty much being at the edge, and then just getting that little light of something else, and then immediately going for it.
He is the epitome of the crisis of faith right now, and he's going through all the things. So
Epitome. The epitome.
Yeah. The epitome. Oh, Alan with the callback. Yes, thank you. So in our podcast, we talked about the fact that I was like watching a YouTube video, and somebody was like trying to be like all super brilliant and everything, and I'm like, okay, great, whatever. And then they said epitome, and I could not listen to anything else they said the rest of the podcast because they said that, and I was like, did they mean epitome? And I was done. I couldn't listen to any more of the podcast. I was over it because of that. And I was like, oh, I'm unsubscribing.
You know, I heard once something that stuck with me, which was, you should always try not to judge people who pronounce words wrong, because that means they've only ever read it. But everyone knows that word, so I do have some trouble with that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. Epitome? Oh, now.
Yeah.
Look, if it was the word, by the way, everybody on the podcast knows my two favorite words to say are apothecary and haberdashery. I mean, those fine, because those are like really obscure words. Epitome? People say the word epitome, I won't say every day,
All the time.
It's pretty regular.
Indubitably.
You know.
How many times
I don't think I've said.
How many
Yeah, I
times
don't
are you
think
having to
I've
bring up
said the word
buying hats?
Haberdashery.
See, that's the reason why I will let somebody go on haberdashery, right? Because it's like, okay, well, you don't really say that. It's not. That's an 18th, 19th century thing.
Well,
But epitome?
nearby where I live, there's kind of like this higher end clothing place that does like old style stuff called Jaime's Haberdashery, so I know the name of that.
Nice.
That's
Nice.
awesome.
I want to visit this now.
Yeah, I believe it's St. Paul has it.
Whoo, I need to be there.
Okay.
All right,
Sorry,
next we'll go on to quotes.
Oh, well, my favorite quote was, "My dear doggy."
My dear doggy.
My dear doggy.
Oh my gosh, yes, we didn't even talk about that. Oh,
My
please
dear
calling
doggy.
TenSoon doggy is the
Yeah,
cutest
my
thing
dear
ever.
doggy. My dear
I
doggy.
actually just forgotten about that completely.
I know. I'm
My
so
dear
happy.
doggy. That's literally said in text.
Yep.
Yeah, Breed
Mhm.
calls TenSoon my dear doggy.
Yep.
Oh, that's right. When he first, yep. That checks out.
My
Oh,
dear doggy.
cute. Dang, I might just take that for my quote too, because I love that.
And see,
Listen,
I'm
do
on
you wanna
audio,
start?
so I'm on audio, so I don't like read text, where I can like quote something. I really felt like somebody said, "Who dis?" And I was like, "Wait, did he say that? Who dis?" But
Who
no,
dis?
I'm sure it
Who
was
dis? New
not.
I
phone.
can confirm nobody
Who
said
dis?
who dis.
Who dis?
Might have said
Unless
was
you
he?
had like
Tree, I
an
wish it
audio
was.
narrator who was
Who
just
was
talking
he?
in their
I
own
wish it
slang.
was. But I feel like somebody said "who dis" or something. Anyway, but I got nothing. I don't have the text in front of me.
So you're picking the who
sorry.
dis mystery quote?
I'm gonna go with
Alondo?
"who dis," even though I know it didn't happen. The same way I know the word "twerk" didn't happen. But let's just go with "who dis."
Wow, way to spoil the twerking
Yeah,
thing.
spoilers.
Yeah. Now I know twerking
snap.
doesn't happen. That was
Yeah.
always on the
snap.
table.
Now you ruined it.
Wow.
Mhm.
Oh no, I kept another reader reading the book because they know that twerk is not going to happen.
Every time I go to dodatetwerk.com, every book I read to make sure it's not in there, so I'm good. I knew it's not in this one.
And Alondo is now registering under the new domain name for another website.
I do that too, but doesthedogdie.com.
Oh, I know that one, yeah.
Does the dog die?
I would never go there because you're going to get real
Holy
spoilers.
cow. I don't want to.
I don't care. If it's animals, I need to know or else I won't enjoy the book. I just need to know
gotta
that.
be depressing. That's gotta be more depressing
I
than
need
I
to
really want it
know.
to be. But I don't
Otherwise,
want
I'm
to.
just anxious the whole
But it's also
time.
telling you all the time. I'm sorry. I'm taking over.
There's some good stuff on that site. It is weird, the thing, because they don't just do dogs. They do any like really sad stuff that happens. So to just look through something and watch people say, "Yeah, it's a good book. Just be prepared. All this horrible shit does happen in the book." It's really funny.
I like that. Thank you, internet. Don't worry, Alan. I won't do that for our first time
This
reader
website's
podcast. I
insane.
promise.
Thanks, guys. Now I have a new rabbit hole today.
Just stay away from anything you haven't watched or read. That's the problem.
Chernobyl? What? Okay, sorry.
I'll jump to my quote quick, which is also pretty short and simple. It's Sazed thinking to himself, Belief isn't a simple thing for fair times and bright days, I think. What is belief? What is faith if you don't continue in it after failure? Is him remembering a voice from the past, and then he's thinking, Kelsier thinking, better to trust and be betrayed, better to love and be hurt. Then Sazed thinking of belief, it's such a meaningless thing. Its text could be changed by Ruin at any time. And do I believe in that? Sazed thought with frustration. Do I have faith in this ruin, but not in something better? Just that end part is the quote, basically, because I think that's pretty much the theme of this whole book, summed up into one sentence, which is everything dies, everything's horrible all the time, and you can sit there and look at that fact and just believe that, or you can also believe in something better that would give you the strength to overcome that. I just think that that is basically the theme of the book, and I liked it being slipped in there in Sazed's little time before he hears what TenSoon says and has a bit of faith come back, that he's already kind of inching towards this thing, even though he doesn't have the piece he needs to overcome it.
That's good. I like that.
This is a good one.
When they're making a live action, that scene's just going to have REM Losing My Religion playing in the background.
No, you ruined it.
That's me in the corner.
Oh, God.
That checks out.
Me in the spotlight.
I don't like REM.
Sorry, Joe. Gonna be in there.
Sorry. We don't make the rules.
Yeah.
My quote was, "You claim to have been playing with me, child, but you are the one who has been played. The Kolas who serve you, they get their strength from my power. You think that I would let you control them if it weren't for my eventual gain?" Just because that was such a jaw-dropping moment. Just like, oh shit, shit's about to hit the fan.
Yep.
And then it did.
That's always good or bad, depending on which way the fan's pointing and where the shit's gonna fly.
Yeah. Everywhere in this case.
Yeah.
All right, Sheta, your quote.
Oh, yeah. Okay, my quote is Ruin talking to Vin, and Yeoman's also there. Okay. "The Lord Ruler must be behind all this," Yeoman mused aloud. "That means he wanted the world to see you as his killer. He wanted the Ska to worship you." "Why?" Ruin repeated. "Why be so uncomfortable? Is it because you know you can't offer them hope? What is it they call him? The one you were supposed to have replaced? The survivor? A word of preservation, I think." "Perhaps he intended to return dramatically," Yeoman said, "to depose and topple you to prove that their faith in him is the only true faith." "Why don't you fit in?" Ruin whispered in her head. "Why else would he want them to worship you?" Yeoman asked. "They're wrong," Vin snapped, raising her hands to her head to try to stop the thoughts. "Trying to stop the guilt." Yeoman hesitated. "They're wrong about me," Vin said. "They don't worship me. They worship what they think I should be. But I am not the heir of the survivor. I didn't do what Kelsier did. He freed them." "You conquered them," Ruin whispered. "Yes," Vin said, looking up. "You're searching in the wrong direction, Yeoman. The Lord Ruler won't return." "I told you that." "No," Vin said, standing. "He's not coming back. He doesn't need to. I took his place." I just thought this was the moment Vin beat Ruin, and that voice in her that was kind of always worried that she would be the new Lord Ruler or something like that, with her own feelings of guilt inside. This is like her fighting, or Yeoman and Ruin at the same time, and answering both of them at once. It was just such a like let it go moment, almost like, and becoming like who she's supposed to be, and being like, yep, nope, it's all that. This is what's right and this is what is not right. And her just taking her place as who she is and shedding all the other stuff. So I thought it was very badass of her.
I like that reading on it, Sheta. Some of
Yeah,
that stuff
let
was
it go.
subconsciously in my head, but no, not that part, but I wasn't really explicitly thinking about it. But yeah, I like that reading of it.
All right, and I guess it'll be mine. So mine's with Elend and Ham. Elend looked up. What would Vin do? His first instinct was to think that she'd attack, but then he remembered when he had discovered her over a year before, after she'd assaulted Set's tower. She'd been huddled up in a corner, crying. No, he thought. No, she wouldn't do this thing, not to protect me. She's learned better. Ham, he said, surprising himself, told the men to pull back and disassemble camp. We're returning to Luthadel. Ham looked at him, startled, and clearly hadn't expected Elend to come to the same conclusion he had. And Vin? I'm not going to attack this city, Ham, Elend said. I won't conquer these people, even if it is for their own good. We'll find another way to get Vin free. Like I said earlier, I like this one because it's pretty much the culmination of Elend's storyline that he's had so far in this book. And, the first 2 books, I liked Elend fine. He wasn't my favorite character, but his story arc in this one, I liked a lot. And I felt this was a great part of it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll ditto everything you just said.
Mm-hmm.
I love the quote. I love that passage. And everything you just said about, his progression. This is the culmination of everything he's been through up until now.
All right. So that's going to be it for quotes. So, chapters for next week, we'll be doing chapters 66 through 75. A lot of short chapters at the end of this book, so we have 10.
Damn.
Jeez.
Nice.
Well, at the end of Elantris, we had a section there, too, where we did 10 chapters.
Yeah.
Hey, Alan, can we do 10 chapters?
Nope.
Boo.
I'm going to speak for Alan and say nope. Not in our book. Nope.
Oh, no.
Do you want to give away a Saturday?
I mean, I would.
Yeah. Right.
I'm jealous.
Yeah, pretty much with mine, it's I personally I can't do just a short section every week. And I know Justin and Sheta can't really handle that either.
Yeah, no, I can barely handle this.
Yeah, Sheta would quit if she had to read 2 chapters or whatever.
Yeah, that's usually what we get. We get to do 2 chapters.
Yeah, but they're all 45 minutes each.
Yeah, that's true. Lately we've been doing. We have 4 this week. That's exciting.
That's true. I mean, but some of the chapters we have to read are long.
Yeah.
Yeah, but with the end of Elantris, you were doing the same thing. You had big sections. You did all of part 3 in one episode.
Were they? Man, I have forgotten. And it seems like it was so long ago. It was not that long ago, and I forgotten.
Yeah. I don't know. I wasn't there for Elantris.
Yeah.
For me, it's not as long ago because I just listen to them when they come out at podcasts. So the end of Elantris for me was 2 weeks ago.
Gotcha. Right.
Did you guys do Elantris and then Stormlight?
We did Elantris, then Mistborn.
No, sorry, I was asking Alan and Alondo.
No, we did Mistborn first.
Elantris,
then we did Elantris, and now we're coming to Stormlight.
Okay, so yeah, that has been a while.
Yeah, and we did the short stories first from Arcanum. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Alan's mic's not working.
What? Uh-oh.
It's okay. We'll miss you, Alan.
Well, technically all we had left was plugs at the end.
Oh, okay.
Well, I get my hair plugs from Oh, wait.
I could do Alan's plugs for him.
Oh, okay.
Not hair ones, but media ones.
Go, Trey, go.
All right, so you can find us at thecosmerereads.com and on YouTube and Discord. What else am I missing? Alondo, help me.
I feel like X. Are we on X?
I don't know.
Does Alan still post on X/Twitter?
I don't know because I don't really go on there anymore. So.
I don't either. So yeah, but all the things. But anyway, Cosmere Reads. Wheel Reads is his other podcast that he does.
Yeah, the Wheel Reads is the other podcast.
Yep. So those two. Would love to, and we do ours on Mondays at 9 o'clock.
Yeah, 9
Eastern time. So we're on YouTube. So we would love to have you guys. Anybody who's listening, join in. We have a very lively chat with all of our participants out there and everything. So
yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
we get very distracted with our chat, though.
Yes, all the deviations. Yes.
All right. Sorry, I had to leave and come back.
Oh, hi, Alan. How did I do?
Discord.
Alan.
You guys did great.
Yay.
Good deal.
All right. I was trying to talk to you guys about the chapters we do, and I'm like, you guys aren't listening. Okay, cool. Because I was like, because I'm sitting there going, tree, in Wheel of Time, there's an 8-hour chapter. We do long chapters.
No, we heard you. We just decided to ignore you.
Yeah, we just didn't want to listen to you anymore. We're like,
we don't want to hear about Wheel of Time anymore.
Yeah, we don't.
Who's this guy?
Yep. 8-hour chapter.
That's true.
The first time when I was listening to Wheel of Time, it's like I was gonna finish the book. I had the day off. I was starting a week of break from work, so it's like, all right, I'll just listen to this throughout the day. Then it's going and going. Then all of a sudden it's then says chapter 19 or whatever. I'm like, wait a minute, When was the last time I heard it say chapter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
8-hour chapter.
Thank you, Mr.
9
Jordan.
hours later.
Yeah.
Nice. I like the SpongeBob reference. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be such an interesting episode of the podcast.
I haven't got there yet. I'm not sure how we're going to do it yet.
Oh.
Talk about take a Saturday off and just, I don't know.
Yeah. Like, would you break it up?
I don't know. I haven't started yet.
All right. Well, good luck with that.
Breaking it up could also be harder because then it will depend on because you can't say a page number because if they have a hardcover or a paperback, that's going to change.
Audiobook.
Audiobook.
Yeah,
it's true. It's like, all right, when Rand says this thing, stop.
Well, thanks for having us. And thanks
thank
to
you,
Alondo for doing the plug. That was great. CosmereReads.com. Go check it out.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Oh, it is WheelReads.com, not CosmereReads.com?
We have
Yes,
both.
Will Reads.
No, there's both.
Do we have both, Alan?
Yeah. Yeah. There's
Okay,
a CosmereReads.com and there's a WillReads.com.
Nice.
Okay, cool.
We have the Cosmere stuff with CosmereReads.com. Same Discord server, but two different websites.
Right.
Yeah, the Will Reads Discord server.
Yep. A lot of fun on there.
Yeah.
All right, and then Sheta, Justin, you two want to throw out your plugs?
You can find me at Profanity Beaver on XDeviantArt and Instagram, where you can read various art, and look at various comics of various sorts that I guarantee, with no question, you will enjoy.
Wow.
Nice.
Not a real
Intriguing.
guarantee.
You can find my arts and and crafts and things on my Instagram, Sheta_low. And I also post cosplay and fashion outfit tidbits on my other Instagram, Mermaid Machete. And I also have a Deviant art where I also post art and stuff like that.
Very cool. I didn't know there was more artsy people in here. That's so exciting. I used to have a Deviant art with the same name, Tree X Hugger, but I don't know if it's
nice.
It's old. Don't judge.
Yeah.
I'll check it out.
Oh, I'm going to judge so hard.
Yeah, do it.
That's fine. Just don't tell me about it. I'm sensitive.
Yeah. The logo for our podcast, Sheta made. And then I've been having
cool.
Justin do... Justin's been doing probably the dumbest series of images that I use for our bonus episodes, which has been various versions of Hatsune Miku and Cosmere outfits.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's your avatar right now.
That's fun.
All
I
right.
like that.
All right. And so for overall Cosmere Chronicle stuff, if you listen to us, give us a review, all the typical stuff, rating. If you want to contact us, leave a comment and everything, or you can send an email to cosmerechronicles@gmail.com. If you want to follow us on Key, a most ancient letter, formerly known as Twitter, Cosmerecron, CosmereChron, or you can follow us, Cosmere Chronicles, on Blue Sky. And since we're getting close to the end of the book, once more, I'll tell you, if you have any questions that you want to ask us for our wrap-up, send it to us, probably by this week. And our next book is Warbreaker, if you want to ask us any preliminary questions before that.
Oh my god, I love Warbreaker.
We'll get there.
It's a spoiler. Now I know it's good.
Well, just because I like it doesn't mean it's good.
Yeah, it could be bad.
Yeah, then now I know it's bad.
I wouldn't
'cause
read
you
too
like
much
it.
into that.
Justin, I've read you how many 1-star reviews of these books, so you know that you can't trust other people's opinions.
Wait, you wrote all those?
No,
No, she did. Wrote all of those 1-star reviews.
I
Now
love
know to
1-star
blame
reviews.
for
I
that
love
crap.
reading those.
They're great.
Yeah, that's what I do for our bonus episodes is we record those, and then when we have like a week, if I can't get an episode out, I just have those in the can, so I put one out.
Boom. That's brilliant.
I hate doing
All right.
them so much.
Just call in sick that day, Sheta.
Yeah, right. I was like, sorry, I'm not gonna do that.
I lost my voice.
Oh, you lost Alondo for a second. Sorry.
All right. So that's it. So everyone, have a nice day. Go out there, have fun, and eat at White Castle. Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye, y'all.
Ta-ta.
Bye.